Bam. Boom. Hey, guys. What is going on? We are live. All right. So, welcome to fourth quarter. How's everybody doing? That's what's up. That's what's up, man. For all of our audience, we're going to start going live every Wednesday just because we love you guys. Thank you. All right. So, I'm going to start off with Corey, quarterback carousel. We're going to go through like all 32 teams, and we're going to see if the teams like need a quarterback, right? Some answers are going to be real quick. So when I say like AFC East, Buffalo Bills, that's probably going to be real quick. So that's what I'm going to start off with. AFC East, Buffalo Bills. That's pretty quick, right? They're not getting rid of Josh Allen. All right. Let's do New York Jets.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they absolutely bring in a veteran quarterback this offseason. The owner has already come out and said that he's willing to pay for one. So I think that's a foregone conclusion at this point. I think the only real question will be is do they hang on to Zach Wilson or do they use him as part of the trade bait in the trade?
Yeah, that's interesting. Because Derek Carr is available, Garoppolo.
Yeah, Garoppolo should be available via free agency. You'll have a few other guys. Reports that Brady could be available. Rodgers.
Yep.
I think it would be funny to see.
Don't know that.
Yeah. I think it'd be funny to see Rodgers get traded to the Jets just like Favre, but
that would be full circle. Anybody else? Everybody agrees the Jets probably looking for a quarterback.
Yeah.
Dolphins. This is a very interesting one.
No.
I don't think so either, man. I know it's a lot of speculation about Tom Brady, but they've already came out and said they like Tua. So
I think they'll give one more year to see how Tua's recovery would be with Bridgewater there. And I mean, to be honest with you, the rookie ain't play half bad in the playoff game.
I think Bridgewater.
Skylar Thompson didn't play half bad. You know what I'm saying? Under the circumstances.
They might just bring Thompson back because Bridgewater's a free agent.
Yeah, that's what I would agree with. And let Thompson actually really get to that QB room.
Right. And then if all else fails, then next year we can revisit this conversation and probably so. But right now, I probably wouldn't say no. They wouldn't bring a new quarterback. They'll keep what they have in place.
New England Patriots.
No.
I don't think so. It's been stuff floating around, but like people are saying Tom Brady's going back. Tom Brady's never going back to New England, guys. He's not. He's not going back.
From what I heard, Belichick's going to bring in a true offensive coordinator this year. So I don't see him doing that.
But you
Matt Jones, knowing that how you get him this year, I don't see you getting rid of him when he went through a whole season when he had no true offensive coordinator. You was one game away. He was a couple plays away from making a playoffs with no true offensive coordinator.
Yeah,
I don't see you doing that.
All right. So now we're gonna go to the AFC North. All right. We'll get this one.
Yeah,
Cleveland Browns.
No.
Nope.
They're not.
Can't. They can't.
Go to Deshaun Watson.
They can't. Steelers, no. I think they like
it. They're gonna go all and pick. Yeah, they're gonna go on and pick it.
Man. I mean, they won't see. So it's a rare occasion. Pittsburgh, Steelers, and University of Pitt share the same facility. So they've seen Kenny Pitt for like 4 years. So they know his work ethic. And he fits their style, you know. So Cincinnati Bengals, no,
of course not.
Baltimore Ravens,
no.
Nope. We'll touch on this a little bit later. All right. AFC South. Jaguars, no.
No.
Tennessee Titans.
Yes.
Yeah.
You think so, Craig?
I mean, they don't really have anybody. Tannehill, he's a free agent, right? So
No, I think he has
oh, that's right. He has one more year. He has one more year.
One more
So,
year. Yeah.
I mean, but he's still not. He's just not good. I mean, he doesn't have.
He's still Ryan Tannehill.
Mhm.
Okay.
He's like that's hard to. There's no comeback to that.
He doesn't
Yeah,
have
it's-
anybody with this. Like he doesn't have anybody to throw the ball. If it's not Derrick Henry, it's not. I mean, you're
Should
not
have never got rid of
pretty
AJ.
much anything from that team, especially with AJ Brown not there.
Yeah,
He's a guy with a
did-
low ceiling.
I didn't agree with the Dobbs move with Willis, especially when you have nothing around to really judge him. But
I mean, Dobbs played better than Willis.
Dobbs
He did, but it was just, yeah.
I mean, Willis didn't have a 100-yard game in I think three starts, 2 or 3.
But we all knew he was going to be a project.
Yeah,
I didn't know he wasn't going to have 100 yards in 2 or 3 full games.
That is
I
really
said
brutal.
it.
It is. It is.
That was horrible.
Yeah, it was. And they gave him shots too. It's not like they gave him a couple.
I think they need to get a. It's a very winnable division. The team won it this year with 9 wins.
Yeah.
And they were right there at one point. They lost like 6 games in a row to end the season. So I think just get a veteran quarterback in there, or even maybe if they had Tannehill, if they had Tannehill the whole season, maybe they make the playoffs at that point.
Yeah.
They don't lose 6 games in a row.
I don't know. Colin Cowherd said he
because all they need was 1 or 2 more wins. All they need
they
was
might
1 or
push
2
for
more
Aaron
wins.
Rodgers. They might push for Aaron Rodgers. That's what he says.
If I'm Aaron Rodgers, I'm not going there. I would not want to go there. I mean, he can't really. I guess if he gets traded, he can't really stop it. But I mean, there's nothing there.
Yeah, because he doesn't have a no trade clause. That's crazy.
He's going to be kind of in the same situation where you have running backs. Obviously, Derrick Henry's better than anything.
Yeah.
But he's no wide receivers. The defense is okay, I guess. Okay.
I think defense is.
But the division is much more winnable, I guess, because Detroit's ascending, Minnesota's there,
right?
Chicago's a ways away, but
yeah,
I mean, other than if the Colts can retune and the Jaguars, who look pretty good, the Titans were already there. Man, they were 7-4. So
yeah,
I mean,
they were right. They were right there. They
1 or
keep
2 more wins.
their own destiny.
Yeah, so I don't know what happened. They self-destructed.
I mean, not only did they self-destruct, but not having Tannehill didn't help them. You know, if they had Tannehill, they might have won 2 of those games. Maybe
I think they might make the playoffs, but I mean, I don't think he's the future of that team. I think they need to do diligence and go out and find a veteran quarterback or a better quarterback, Derek Carr or something. Do something.
Yeah, and unfortunately, because they got rid of AJ Brown, that receiving core needs to get upgraded. I like Traylon Burks, but
he really wasn't there.
He wasn't there. Small sample size, but I can only imagine if they had AJ Brown, they would.
Robert Woods, he wasn't there either.
Well, he's coming off that injury. You know what they say? It usually takes, and he's a little bit older. I think next year he'll be fully healthy, fully acclimated, instead of an off season of rehabbing. I don't know. Tennessee's interesting.
Yeah.
If the veteran goes there, it'll be because of Vrabel. He sold them. All right. I'm saving the best for last, Corey. Texans. We know they need a quarterback.
They screwed themselves. Yeah, they need a quarterback.
Yeah.
They're taking one.
Yeah, they'll probably draft one second. They'll probably draft one second.
Or they'll move up to 1.
They shouldn't have been drafted.
Maybe.
But what?
Oh, yeah.
That
That is. Hey, Lovie Smith says you play to win the game. That's what he said.
might have cost him his job. That might have.
I don't think
he was going to be going anyway, probably.
Exactly.
But that didn't help. That didn't help matters.
He probably was like, "I'm going to go anyway. I need this one, fellas." All right, Indianapolis Colts.
Yeah.
hopefully they draft. I've been seeing
They'll draft the quarterback. They got
CJ
high, huh?
Stroud, or Levis. I don't like Levis, but
I don't either.
I've seen all three. So Levis has all the physical tools, so it can make sense because Ballard is very much a measurables guy.
yeah.
Same with CJ Stroud. Ballard's also a big Big Ten guy, so that could make sense. The thing is, I don't remember where I saw, but somebody made a really interesting point that Ballard being a measurables guy, I've seen some dismissal of Bryce Young as a target for the Colts because of him being undersized.
Gotcha.
But there was also rumor that the Colts tried to trade for Kyler Murray. So
we don't know
I don't know if size is necessarily an issue if they think he can play.
Yeah, that's true.
But they're getting one of those three quarterbacks within the first 4 picks of the draft. It's just a matter of where they end up selecting. If you like Levis, you sit at 4, you let him fall to you.
Yeah.
If you
CJ
like
Stroud
Young, Stroud better, you go get him.
You think so? You don't think CJ falls?
The Texans are taking a quarterback ahead of you. The Cardinals might be able to be convinced to trade down to get one.
That is true.
Depending on what Chicago does as well, because they obviously are looking to move back at least a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know that you trust
defense
that much.
Yeah. 1 to 4 isn't bad. Because if you're drafting one, you still want an impactful player.
Yeah, you have to imagine that the Cardinals and Bears each one of the top 2 defensive linemen are in the draft. So Anderson from Bama, Carter from Georgia.
Yeah, they're going to be.
You have to think those 2 guys are going in the top 4 as well. So
yes, they are.
Probably you will see Young and Stroud going to Indy and Houston unless somebody else can convince Chicago or Arizona to move back further.
Those are 2 very impactful defensive players. And we can see how if you have an impactful defensive player, how it can shift. So that's good for you, Corey. All right.
Having those 2 guys at the top of the draft defensively, I think does help the Colts' chances at landing Stroud, but we'll see.
Yeah. All right. Of course, Chiefs. No. He's probably going to retire as one of the greatest quarterbacks. He's not there now, but he's probably going to be mentioned with the Peyton Mannings and the Aaron Rodgers.
So hold up. So this is the wild part. If he wins Saturday, I got to look at the stats.
He would have been in every AFC playoffs game. Yes.
Hold up. 5 straight? Would that be 5 straight? Would that be 5 straight?
AFC
how many quarterbacks
game.
have done it? How many quarterbacks have done that? 5 straight? Like AFC championship games, like championship games. 5 straight. That's crazy. Like that's just unprecedented. Like that's just crazy.
Yeah, he would be because his first year he started, he lost to the Patriots in the championship game. The second year he beat Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
It was Tennessee, right? Yep. They beat Tennessee in the championship game. They went to win the Super Bowl, beat San Francisco. Then
they lost to Charleston. Last year lost to Cincinnati.
Yeah, no, but they went back to the Super Bowl and lost. They lost to the Bucks.
Yeah. Then last year lost to Cincinnati.
Hold on,
so that'd be 5 straight. Yeah, that'd be 5 straight.
What was that one, Craig?
Who did they beat in the AFC Championship game 2 years ago when they lost to the Bucks in the Super Bowl? Was that the Bills or was that somebody else?
That was the Bills.
The Titans. It was the Bills or the Titans. It had to be one.
Yeah, it was. I think it was Patriots they played. Then I think it was maybe the Bills. Then it was the Titans. Either or. It was either the Titans or the Bills. And then they lost Cincinnati. Yeah, it'd be 5 straight. Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's
because it ain't like the AFC been soft. So you can't really say the AFC been soft. Like,
he's
no.
a beast. He's a beast. Chargers, no. I think they lockstep with Herbert.
Yeah.
Broncos, no, they can't.
Nah, they can't. Money.
They're locked in. They're locked in. Yeah.
They locked in on so many
They locked
different bases. They screwed on so many different bases.
Well, man, we'll see. I don't know. I think it depends who their coach is. Raiders, of course.
Yeah, the Raiders need a quarterback.
Yeah, they're gonna trade Carr. I think they said they're gonna push for Brady.
But I mean,
there's so many rumors. There's so many rumors going on. We'll get there.
But what does that change? What does that change? But we'll get there later. I don't think that changes anything.
There's a lot of rumors.
Does that really? Did that make them better than anybody? Let me just ask you. Other than the Broncos, does them getting Brady make them better than anybody in that division? Other than the Broncos?
I don't think it makes them better than Denver.
Yeah, that's fair too. I agree.
I don't know, man. Could Josh McDaniels trade Devontae
okay.
next year?
Okay.
Could he? Yeah, he trades everyone else.
Traded
Brandon
how about
Marshall.
that? Yeah,
He did that. He did Jay Cutler, and then the next year he did Brandon Marshall. It seems like he's doing this again. That's all I'm saying. That's all. It just looks real familiar. It just looks really familiar. All right. And now for the NFC. The NFC East. Eagles, no. They're with Jalen Hurts. Cowboys,
No.
that's good.
Yeah.
Giants, nah. You know they re-signed it. They re-signed Daniel Jones. They're locked in.
Looks
No.
like a
Yeah,
legitimate
no.
NFL
Yeah.
quarterback this year.
Yeah.
He does. I
Coaching.
I don't
Coaching,
like
but
who,
never mind.
I don't like who Craig, but
Hey, hold
coaching
on.
matters.
Let's move
Coaching
on because
matters.
let's move on because that makes me want to go to Ron Rivera and 5 more. But let's go. Let's move on. Go ahead, mercy. Coaching matters, man. Coaching matters, man.
Yes.
No, mercy.
Commanders need a quarterback bad.
Yeah.
You
Listen.
know. I'm not a listen. Shout out to Matt. He loves Howell. I told him if we go 3-13, he's never gonna hear the end of it. But if we go 13-3, I'll be quiet.
Hey, so we'll
I
get this
just think-
later.
I
But
just-
3-13, and you do it going through.
I'm sorry, 3-4,
All right.
13.
Hey, yeah, I think Jones.
4-13.
Hey, yeah, I think Jones and both of them get long-term contracts this year, or you think how they do that?
Who?
Jones and Barkley. You think they both
Yeah.
get long-term contracts this all season?
Yes, they already said it.
I got you.
They came out and was like,
Right.
I believe they have the cap space.
I think one of them has to get a deal done so they have the option to tag the other, but
Yeah,
I think they both say.
I think they both get done. I don't think Daniel Jones asks for. I don't think he's going to ask for a crazy amount.
You don't deserve a crazy amount.
but
There's that too.
he doesn't, But I don't know. He'll work it out.
We'll give him credit for this year though, because he's doing it with no receivers. Basically,
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I don't think he's going to break the bank, but I think he'll get the average.
I think if
Average
you're Daniel
starter.
Jones, you sign a 1 or 2 year deal as like a prove it bet on yourself so that if you come out and do this again or perform better with a better receiving core next year, you can really cash in.
Yeah, like a 2-year, $60 million, something like that. 30, 30 about 30 a year. Well,
I don't know about that, but
whoa!
I don't know what's the average starting quarterback salary.
Put a lot of stock in the 15.
I don't listen. I'm not.
I could see like 2 years, 40 million.
I
Give
think
him 20 million.
Yeah,
maybe 50. I don't know. I don't know the average starting quarterback salary.
I give him maybe at max. I give him 22 million a year. That's 44 million. You take it.
44 million.
I'm not gonna waste my time trying to sign you.
Man, come on.
You do 15 touchdowns and 5 interceptions. Interceptions is good. The 15 touchdowns. Brock Purdy has 16 in 7 games.
He did. He looks like the starter. We'll get there.
Brock Purdy had
He has better receivers. He has better receivers. I will give him that. But I mean, just the amount of games that it took him to get 16 versus the amount of games it took him to get 15. You can't
justify the money.
Can't do it. And you had an easier schedule because you were playing
They had an easy schedule.
NFC or the AFC South. Just like next year, the NFC South and the AFC South have the easiest schedules. They play each other. The schedule. They play each
Hold
other.
on, you said the AFC South and the NFC South play each other?
So
Yeah, they had
so
the
the
easy
average,
schedule next year.
Wow.
so the average is about. In looking at this, the average is about 30 to, about 25, 30 a year. So
Okay, so they're gonna probably
So-
sign him for 25.
so looking at this right now, right?
They got to. That's what he's gonna
Hold on.
shoot for.
I'm gonna roll off the top 10. Rogers made what 50.
Yeah.
Russell was 49.
Okay.
Kyler was 46. Deshaun was 46.
Okay.
Mahomes 45.
Yeah.
Josh Allen 43.
Mm-hmm.
Carr 40. Stafford 40.
Mm-hmm.
Doc 40. Cousins 35. So like
And the
that-
cap supposed to go up too.
Ain't in that.
The only
That's crazy, yo.
I know
the
he just
only
beat Cousins,
quarterback-
but he's not in that class.
Hold up. The
Nah,
only quarterback that
no.
started under 30, the only quarterback that started under 30 was Ryan Tannehill. He was 29 this year.
Damn.
And Brady was 25. Yeah, Matt Ryan even making 30 million.
Damn.
So
He's gonna ask for, even if he asks for top 15 money, that's gotta be 20, that's gotta be 32.
Look, man, you're not getting 30.
He made a lot of money.
Yeah.
He made a lot of money winning that playoff game.
He just wouldn't get 32 from me.
who you talking about? Who you talking
Daniel
about?
Jones.
Oh, no, he ain't getting 32. James Jones ain't getting
30. I just don't. You know what I'm
He's
saying?
gonna sign a 3-year, like $80 million deal or something like that. Watch. All right. So now we're gonna go to the NFC North. Vikings, no. Kirk Cousins is locked in. Jared Goff, no. You think so, Craig? You think?
I wouldn't be surprised if they drafted him,
No.
but I don't
Yeah,
know.
but he gonna be the quarterback next year, though. He's definitely gonna be starting next year.
I don't think they need a quarterback, but I wouldn't be surprised if they
If
drafted.
they drafted one,
Especially,
They might draft one, but he's gonna be the quarterback next year.
Especially
I
since
understand
they got,
that. I'm not gonna
the Rams pick, and they're picking in the top. What were they, 6 or 7?
they are 6.
So I wouldn't be surprised if they take a quarterback, especially if it's.
It might not be none left, bro.
I could see them take a quarterback if they trade back at 6. But
It might be somebody there. It might be.
It might be.
It might.
if it's
might
Levis,
be.
maybe.
It
There's
may be.
there's 4
Might
quarterbacks
be Levis.
in the top that's supposed to go in the first round. So I think
For real?
there's
I
4,
only know 3.
including Richardson.
Richardson's the 4th.
Richardson.
He's probably
is.
like mid, like top, like in the like 10 or in the 10 to 15 range or something.
Hell,
like that.
Vegas picked 7th.
Right.
So if one quarterback falls,
And you got to figure Chicago's not taking a quarterback. If they still staying where they're at, Seattle's probably
no, I don't think Seattle is, yo.
not going to take a quarterback.
We'll get there, but I don't know, man. I don't know.
Somebody might.
I could see Seattle take one.
Panthers might trade up.
Maybe Panthers might. That's what I'm saying.
Cardinals are not taking a quarterback either. So that's 2 teams. Bears.
Yep, there's only 2 teams. Somebody could trade up.
Let's go.
Somebody literally could trade up because I'm looking at the draft order. Seattle could want to trade back, and Detroit want to trade back, so they can build draft capital. Philly's probably going to trade back. Houston might trade up.
I wouldn't trade up. But
I think for Chicago and Arizona, it makes the most sense to have Houston and Indianapolis trade up because you still get one of those 2 defenders.
Yep.
Otherwise, if you have to go further, you have to be giving up a lot to be passing on one of those 2 guys.
They say those 2 guys are legit. They say Anderson he's legit. He's the real deal. Okay.
In the right situation, Lord Embers.
Yeah.
He could ball out. But I don't like him with the Bears, but that's the end of that.
I don't know. Packers.
Yes.
I don't.
no.
I don't.
It's either Rodgers or Love.
He's a
It's
love.
Rodgers or Love.
Yeah. All right, that's it.
Either they're gonna trade Rodgers or you're right. Rodgers or Love. Rodgers is on $58 million next year.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want that contract.
You said you wouldn't want that?
Not if I'm a team trade. I wouldn't want to trade for Aaron Rodgers. Not take that contract off.
That's a large
That's a large contract.
Unless he wants to renegotiate the contract and restructure it somehow.
Yeah. That's
bring
fair.
it down, or have
Maybe.
the Packers play, or have the Packers pay some of that money,
That might happen.
20
You
half.
can pull that off, yeah.
They can pull that
That makes
off because
sense.
they're not gonna.
Pay
Yeah,
half.
they can take a hit. They can take a hit.
I'm cool with it, but
They
I mean,
can take a hit.
yeah.
But he might. I don't know. He's talking like how. It's so funny that he's talking how Brett Favre used to talk every year. Anyway, Bears. No, I think they locked in with Justin Fields.
Yeah, I feel like it's disrespectful that we're talking about. I've heard a lot of people talk about would the Bears draft a quarterback. I'm like, come on, man. Like, I feel like you haven't even done. The sad part is they haven't even done him like they did. They gave a chance to Mr. Trubisky. What if you put around him? Like,
Yeah, I don't think
Mr.
so. I don't
Trubisky,
think they're gonna trade him.
yeah, even Mr. Trubisky, you went out and got talent around him. What if you put around? What do you put around this man?
I think they're gonna give him some time. I think they like him.
You got you.
I think they like Justin Fields. I do. All right. AFC South. Buccaneers. Yes. Tom Brady's not coming back.
I mean, he looks washed even if he was.
It looks like age is catching up.
Listen, so hold up. Before we go there, do y'all buy into the fact that they said they was behind? That's why he threw the ball six times.
No.
Do y'all buy that? Like, I heard a lot of analysts be like, they got behind. That's why he threw the ball that many times. No, they didn't get behind that many. They didn't get behind that quick.
Critiques for Brady, so we're going.
I'm not putting all the blame on Brady.
No,
for the season. Like, I think he looked bad because the offensive line wasn't blocking properly, and they'd lost some players in the offseason, and the running game was horrible, and also the receivers dropping passes. But the running game was just the worst, I think, in the league.
It was the worst in the
Other than the first game of the season where Fournette looked really good, he had 100 and whatever it was yards against the Cowboys. Right. He never even came close to 100 yards in the whole rest of the season.
Yeah,
they couldn't. I mean, I don't think no quarterback would. It would be hard to be a quarterback playing for that offense with that running game being the way it was. I mean, unless you're somebody like a mobile quarterback who can run on his own, then I can understand it. You might be able to do something like that. You could probably do some read options, but I mean, he was doomed. Nothing he could do.
Nothing. Saints. What do you think about the Saints?
Saints need a quarterback, man.
Yeah.
They're going with Andy Dalton, the red rifle.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. They need a quarterback. I don't know.
They need a quarterback.
I thought they should have played Jameis more, but
that's weird. I don't know.
I don't understand that. I mean, you're not telling me that Andy Dalton is better than Jameis Winston to play that many games and to be that.
Yeah, if that's the case, then James needs to retire.
He was mediocre. It's not like he was setting the.
No, he was
not there and balling. I don't know, man.
Andy Dalton was mediocre. Mid is the word. Falcons, yes. Unless you go with Ritter.
I think they are. I
don't know. He didn't look good, yo.
He didn't,
but I mean, I think they're gonna go with him and try to build around him. I don't see them drafting or getting him that quarterback. I don't think
they're eighth. They gotta do something to quarterback.
Unless they go out and get like
that head coach gonna be on a high speed.
Unless they go,
he is. He definitely is.
Or something like that, or some type of veteran quarterback, and maybe put him behind Ritter, or maybe.
I mean, who?
Tannehill.
Because the coach. Okay, because the coach. Okay,
that's the only reason.
That's
because of the coach.
That might be the only one. That might be the only one I can see.
Mm-hmm. I can see that.
We'll get bring Matt Ryan back. I mean,
no. See, I don't want to go there. Don't start that. Don't start that. Don't start that, man.
Bring Matt Ryan back, man.
Matt Ryan needs to retire. He need to go home. Stop.
He does.
I think he does. One more year left in him, and it's
no. Eli effect. No, Eli effect.
He's gonna be out.
Retire.
Who has 1 year left in him?
Matt Ryan, come back.
No, he don't. No, he don't.
The NFC
no, he don't.
I watched every game he played in this year. I can promise you he does not.
He needs to go.
Come back to the South.
And he go to Carolina.
Yeah. And Craig, of course, Carolina.
Oh, they definitely need a quarterback.
I think y'all are in prime. To be honest, I think a quarterback could fall, man. Y'all might have to trade up because Atlanta and Vegas are picking before you. So, like, say Houston gets a quarterback, right? Indianapolis gets a quarterback, right? Say Denver and Seattle don't, right? I'm sorry. Say Seattle doesn't. Say Detroit doesn't. Say they get very impactful defensive players, right? You get Vegas and Atlanta are going to probably try to get a quarterback.
Yeah, but I mean,
so I'm going to have to trade up.
At that point, you could trade up with
Seattle. You don't have to call Seattle.
Seattle or who's picking?
Or Detroit.
Detroit at that point.
Y'all going to have to call
2 first-round picks. So, I mean, and they look like they're on the verge of being a
really Seattle?
It's on offense. No, Detroit.
Detroit, they trying to build that
defense. Up 3 spots with
Detroit.
I don't think Detroit really is in a – I don't think even though I just said that Detroit, I wouldn't be surprised if they take a quarterback. I don't think they're going to take a quarterback. At least I don't think so. They need to work on that defense.
Yeah.
I can see them taking another defensive player like they did last year.
Yeah.
Carolina, on the other hand, needs a quarterback. They need a –
because they got 2. They could get 2 impactful defensive players, man, and be like the Jets. You know what I'm saying? That could matter if they hit those – if they trade back with you and they hit and build that defense, that matters, man. You know?
It would, and I just wouldn't want – I don't think I want Richardson. Yeah. I think he's still a project. I think the other 3 guys could start right away, but Richardson, he might have to wait a year. And they don't have that because they don't have a quarterback already in place unless they re-sign Darnold. Darnold's probably going to want that 25 minimum that Mo said about the.
Yeah, he's going to want 25.
I mean, so is Richardson one of them like project, but like so we can get the 5th-year option type people? Like, bump it, I'm gonna get him for 5th-year option type.
He might start.
He's athletic. I don't know who'll start, man. He's athletic. But I mean, you're looking at his numbers.
He might be better than Willis, though.
Huh?
No, I'm saying I understand future, but I'm talking about drafting him right now with your pick, 1st round. Like, is he that project that you can't miss? Like, like you got the 5th-year option. Like, I'm gonna get him.
I feel like if somebody starts him, if somebody drafts him in the top 10, he might start.
I don't know.
I don't know that you can.
I don't know if he's.
I don't know about him.
Start him. I wouldn't.
That's a high pick. Now,
I mean, if
you start him, you have to be ready for a bad season.
Yeah,
I don't know about Levis
2 years ago. He didn't start.
Yeah,
he did not. But that's a good.
I don't even know about Levis starting. I don't even know about you.
I mean, it depends on where he goes.
Yeah, but I can see. But for Carolina, man, if y'all trade with Seattle or Detroit, that's your best bet to get one of the top 3 quarterbacks.
I just saw this where Indianapolis traded with Chicago.
But they get Bryce Young?
No, Stroud.
Okay.
No. I'm sorry. Yeah, that's right. They did
Bryce
take Young. And Carolina traded up to 5 with Chicago, and they took
Levis.
No.
Stroud.
I think Levis went 2 to Houston.
Oh, well, so what if you had CJ Stroud with Sean Payton? You wouldn't like that?
The problem is that you're going to have to give up a lot. I think you're going to have to probably give up this year's 1st-round pick, I would assume, to get Sean Payton. They look like they're commanding a number 1 pick.
Oh, yeah.
So
you're not even going to be picking 9th.
They wouldn't
or you could.
And plus, I think that New Orleans.
Damn, because they don't have a 1st-round pick.
New Orleans could drive up the asking price since it's in the division versus trying to trade them to the.
You think they could do 2 first, like a future first? Think next year first and not this year?
I don't know about that one because I don't think the Saints are picking in the.
No, they're not picking.
No, they're not picking. So I mean,
they're not picking.
Get some type of compensation for them to. I don't think he's going. I just don't think he's going to get traded within the division. So I don't see Sean Payton, even though I think he's asked to talk to the team or they gave him permission to do it.
It'll be tough if y'all got CJ Stroud and Sean Payton. You be smiling from ear to ear.
No, I think he got. I think he got interviews all week with Carolina, Denver, and one more. And I think Arizona's. Yeah, it might be Houston. Arizona asked for permission, but I don't think it's been granted yet. I don't think Sean Payton responded yet.
I think
Arizona did.
Defensive guy.
Arizona asked for permission to interview him, but I don't think that's been responded to yet.
I think they looking for defense.
But I think Arizona did ask for permission.
Because I just looked at something. They asked to interview the Lions D coordinator. I think they want to go defense.
Yeah, because Lions O coordinator just said
Arizona. I think they want to hire defensive minded.
Yeah, I think Arizona O coordinator just said he's returning. He said he's not taking any interviews.
So the damn Lions, they're supposed to have an interview today with Carolina.
Who? That Lions OC?
Johnson?
Yep. He's like, I'm going back.
Yeah. He said he's going back.
Maybe he talked to Campbell. Maybe he's coming back. Maybe.
I mean, there's a number of options. It could be something that he may have just kind of done the first few interviews.
Been like, man,
he kind of came to the decision himself that he may not think he's ready.
Yeah,
he's young. He was very successful last year. He's going to have opportunities.
Yeah,
he is, because their offense. Oh my God, their offense is going to be crazy next year.
Yeah. All right, and then the last one, the AFC West, 49ers. No.
I mean, that's confusing.
They got a problem.
They have a good problem.
Yeah, they got a good problem. They got a problem. Yeah, they got a good problem. They got a problem.
Because you got to think, if Brock Purdy goes to the Super Bowl or the championship game, you got to bring him back.
You bring him back. I think it's going to be like Nick Foles and Carson.
They might trade him. They might trade him.
I don't know. But hold up.
You don't even know what you have with Trey Lance yet. He played.
I mean, do you
know what they got with Purdy?
Whatever it is. And a monsoon.
That's tough spot.
Purdy got the locker room too. I
don't know, man.
If Purdy takes you to a Super Bowl, I don't know how he doesn't walk in next year as the starter.
Everybody's praising him. All the team, man.
He's
Williams, George Kittle. George Kittle's been eating. By the way,
I think Purdy is just a better Jimmy Garoppolo.
I think. Yeah. I haven't seen.
I think more athletic.
I haven't seen anything.
More athletic.
I think he's a better Jimmy Garoppolo.
Haven't seen.
Yeah, more athletic. I mean, more athletic.
I love Trey Lance.
I haven't seen him. I don't even remember what he did. I know it was terrible. I don't. It was so long ago, and it was such a.
Would you take Trey Lance if they offered?
Yes,
I would. I would take
almost
Trey
any
Lance.
team would want to have Trey.
I would. I think they're going to trade him.
I think Arizona trading Josh Rosen could be kind of a standard for Trey Lance, that if you're sold on Brock Purdy and going forward with him, you offer up Trey Lance for a 2.
Yep, and they get him. I would take it. And y'all got a lot of number 2 picks.
I'll take it. Who wouldn't take? I mean,
I would.
The Chiefs or the Chargers or somebody like that. Why wouldn't you entertain?
Some teams might not.
I'm saying, like, if you got an established quarterback that's going to be there for a while. But I mean,
if you end up missing out on the top 3 quarterbacks in this draft, the next option is calling San Francisco and asking about Trey Lance.
Yeah, that's something I agree with, because I don't think they bring both of them back, Craig. I don't see it.
I
don't. Go ahead, Corey. My bad.
I think it could make sense too, just because you don't know what you have in Lance, and Purdy's half a year. But if he goes to a Super Bowl, it's hard to bench him. But I also don't know if you hang on to him, that his trade value is only going to decline the longer he sits on the bench.
Damn, man. I like him.
This doesn't smell like Nick Foles, Carson Wentz to you?
Yeah, a little bit.
That's all he's thinking about. Except for the fact that they're older and Carson Wentz had an MVP type of season before he got hurt. And whatever.
And I would also say Nick Foles had multiple failed stops before the Super Bowl.
I get that too. It's just like, I'm just saying, like a backup quarterback who wasn't supposed to be there playing at all, getting any type of shine, and all of a sudden he goes to the Super Bowl.
That's gonna be interesting. I ain't gonna lie. I would look out for it.
I said personally, I think Purdy is. I say he's a better version of Jimmy Garoppolo. He has a little bit stronger arm. He's much more athletic, and he has a willingness to actually push the ball down the field.
Yeah.
So I think for that system, he might be just the perfect guy.
He might be. Yeah.
Yeah. That it's going to be interesting to monitor. I'm definitely monitor it.
I'm gonna see what happens.
Yeah.
It'll be real interesting.
Yeah. Him or Jordan Love, I think are I like them. I think teams should inquire about Bills.
I was really surprised when Love didn't get moved last year.
Yeah,
It's happening this year. Either Love is their starter or they have to trade him.
Yep.
absolutely.
Yep. It's either or. Seahawks. I think they stick with Geno.
No. I think Geno
Yeah.
gets re-signed. I think they
re-signed.
re-signed him.
I think they re-signed. You know, Pete
I don't know
Carroll
the
likes
money.
better. He likes
So-
veteran quarterbacks.
So I don't think Geno's going to play hardball. I think Geno understands the situation. I think Geno's going to resign because
Yeah.
if Geno plays hardball, where does he go? For the same money. For the same money he would
Nowhere.
ask for
I
Seattle.
don't think he's
If
going
he
to play
plays
hardball.
hardball, where would he go?
I think he likes
More money.
Seattle. They
Where would he go
believe
for
in
more
him.
money, yo?
I think he likes Seattle. They believe in him. I think Pete Carroll likes him. I think they stick with him. He's a Pete Carroll guy. He does what Pete Carroll asks. You know, he had a
I
great
think
season.
it would be wise for them to re-sign him, load up on draft picks this year.
Yep.
And then if
Absolutely.
you still think you need a guy after next year, you go get
Right,
him.
but
Yeah.
you got to bring him back next year.
You
You
have
can't go
to. They just
after
went
you
to the
went.
playoffs,
After you went,
man.
yeah, you just went to playoffs. It wouldn't make sense to go back to a rookie
Build your defense up.
or
man.
draft. Yeah,
He's not going to kill your cap. Build your defense up. You know, that's why they're a good trade partner, Craig. Watch out.
I mean, your offense is there.
Trade back.
I mean, you're a threat next year. It's not like they're going to take a step back. They're going to be a threat. I'm not
They
saying
are.
they're going to make the playoffs again, but they're going to be a threat next year.
They're gonna be a
Like
good
the
team.
offense is there. Yeah,
They got some good young pieces.
run game.
Yeah. LA Rams.
No,
I think Stafford's coming back. I think
I don't know. If Stafford is not back, I think they need a
they
quarterback.
gonna
Nah, he
sign
gonna- nah, they
Baker
already said-
Mayfield.
Hasn't
Nah, they
Stafford
already
already said he's coming back?
yeah. They already picked
did?
his option. They already picked his
Yeah.
option. Yeah, they
No.
already picked his option.
I figured since he was hurt, I thought his injury was worse than.
Nah, they picked his option. Nah, they already picked it. Nah,
I
they
ain't
did.
heard nothing about it.
Yeah, he's coming. He's coming back. They might bring Baker back. I don't know.
They should.
I don't know about that, but I know they picked up Stafford's option though. They already did.
Yeah.
Okay, well.
And the Cardinals, no, of course, because they got Kyler Murray. Next year, though, they might get a veteran. If I know Colt McCoy said he might retire, so I don't know if he comes back a full year. But they're not. You know, people say Kyler's gonna be ready week 1. I don't think so.
That's a big gamble.
I don't think so. I think they're going to take his time. I think he is on the pup list automatically, and then I think they're going to bring him back, you know, slowly. Because, you know, those injuries are a lot mental. Physical training is rigorous. So, you know, whoever takes that head coaching job, oh, man, I don't know. I don't know. All right. So we're done that. So I'm gonna start off with you, Corey. The Jaguars came back from 27 down. Actually, do you know the Jaguars committed 5 turnovers and the Chargers 0? The Chargers still came back. It's one of the largest comebacks in NFL history. Corey, give me your thoughts on the game. And if you were the GM, would you fire Brandon Staley?
For the game, I feel like at halftime I saw it coming. Honestly, it's the Chargers. You get the Chargers out of San Diego, but they're still the Chargers. There was no reason for them to lose that game. Lawrence looked terrible in the first half. And I don't want to hear the complaints about the officiating because it wasn't bad. That first pick wasn't DPI. The cornerback had a right to his position. He held his ground when the receiver ran into him. Bad throw. The Jaguars looked kind of unprepared for that game. Kudos to them for rallying. I think it's a sign that you should move on from Staley because their offseason decisions made it very clear they are all in on Justin Herbert's rookie contract. Well, then you've had 2 monumental collapses each of the last 2 seasons. You had one last year that kept Justin Herbert from getting any playoff experience because you fell apart the last week of the season and lost to the Raiders. And then you have, the 3rd biggest collapse in playoff history in the second half of your first playoff game. if the moment seems too big for Staley, he doesn't seem prepared for it. You cannot waste this window with Herbert. Like, you got to take advantage. And Brandon Staley just does not seem up for the job. I know they fired the offensive coordinator. That was the sacrificial lamb to save Staley's job.
And the QB coach.
Yeah.
That was
like he was willing to sacrifice whoever to keep his job. Yeah, that's going to happen. But like,
crazy.
It feels like a mistake. I right now, there's no way I'm picking the Chargers to go to the Super Bowl or next year or to win that division because I have zero faith that they can do it under Staley.
Craig, what's your thoughts on the Chargers? And if you're GM, you bringing Brandon Staley back?
Let me answer the second question first. I think he should be fired.
Yeah.
I don't like the. I'm not Mo where I'm firing every coach, but
yeah,
I do think this was his must-win game, basically, to save his job, basically, for head coach as the Chargers. And I just thought that first half they looked good, and then for whatever reason they just stopped running the ball, or not even just stop running the ball because they weren't really running the ball for that many yards, but they stopped getting the ball to their best player or one of their best players in Eckler. Like I think he only had like 2 or 3 touches in the second half alone. So even if you're not running the ball, which he was only getting like 2.7, 2.9 yards a carry, at least get him on some screens, get him on some short dump offs, get him something where he can be involved in the game and extend the game for you or extend the drive for you or something like that. And it just wasn't. I don't know what the calls were in the second half that they weren't doing like the first half. Obviously, they were getting turnovers, so it looked like the offense was unstoppable when it was because they got a short field for the most part. So it's easier to score on a short field when you know what I'm saying, when you're getting all these turnovers. So I mean, the offense looked a lot better because of that.
Yeah,
and I just don't know what happened with the whole Austin Eckler thing. It just didn't make any sense. Also, I mean, Mike Williams wasn't there. So, I mean, that kind of hurt. But, I mean, still, like, you're up 27-0, I think, or 24-0.
And because Mike Williams not being there is because Staley. That's his fault, too.
That is his fault. So, it also goes back to that, right, because he played him when he didn't have to in a meaningless game because you're already the
rest your players.
5th seed. Anyway. You're already going to be the 5th seed anyway. So, there was no need to play those guys for the whole whatever. So
see what the Giants did.
That's weird. And like I can understand maybe getting them some touches or whatever it is, but you don't have to play in the whole game. But it's just a weird situation. Like you just don't see too many of these. We've already seen it once early with the Colts and the Vikings. Then you see it again in a more meaningful game. And I don't know, man. Staley just makes some crazy, curious decisions. Now I understand that they got rid of the OC and the quarterback coach. Okay, that's cool. But the main culprit in all this, the main guy, like you said, going back to the whole Week 18 thing, is the head coach. I don't understand how he escaped it, but I don't even know why they're bringing him back. I don't know. It's just like Justin Herbert he's getting wasted. His time is getting wasted. His talent is getting wasted with this organization. So I don't know what the answer is. I mean, obviously, I think it's just get rid of him. Maybe they know that they can't get Sean Payton. But I
don't think they want him.
But at the same time, I'm sure there's another coach out there that's better than Staley is. Excuse me. So I don't know why you just don't go after a better option that can utilize and help out a quarterback like Justin Herbert, because clearly Staley's not getting it done. So it was a bad loss. It's a horrible loss. Great comeback though, because I thought the game was over because but then again, I should have known. I've seen football enough time to know that the game's not over until the whistle blows in the fourth quarter. So hats off to Trevor Lawrence for basically just turning it around and bring the team back. And like I said, I was high on the Chargers. I don't know why. I should remember I was high on Chargers because of Herbert, not because of the coach. But the coach clearly has shown me for the second straight year in a row, he's not to be trusted. So,
Mo, you watched the game. We know your thoughts. Give us your thoughts on the game. And you GM. Why you firing Staley? I know you're gonna fire him.
I
need to hear why, brother.
I know how y'all feel, but I know how y'all judge me, but this is crazy. If I'm not mistaken, I gotta look it up again. But in the second half, I think it was like 22-6 or 27-6 as far as passing the run. That's ridiculous. You was up 27-7. And I understand you're a defensive guy. Everybody like, oh, he a defensive guy. But you're the head coach. How do you not go to the offensive coordinator and be like, listen, no, we're not calling that no more. I want you to run the ball. I don't care if it's I formation, single wing. I don't care if it's double tight. We're running the ball and then we're gonna punt it and play defense. How do you throw the ball 3 times more than you run the ball in the second half and you was up 3 scores? I'm ridiculous. But somebody had to eat it. I get it. So he fired the offensive coordinator and the quarterback coach.
Mm-hmm.
That's still ridiculous to me. I don't understand how that happens.
He had to sacrifice him.
Yeah, he had to sacrifice him. That's not, I mean, that's basically like, okay, you're cool, but you gotta fire somebody. So my thing is he a lame up coach going the next season? Like, is he in a Mike McCarthy type of situation? You have to win a playoff game or you gone next season? Because I think he is, because this is ridiculous. But all respect to Jacksonville. Great comeback. For Jacksonville to come back from four interceptions first half, and then you to come back from that game. Shout out to Lawrence. I liked him coming out of Clemson. I truly loved him. And for you can't question if he's a tough kid, because for him to deal with what he dealt with his rookie year with that head coach, that clown show, and then him to come back from this and still win, he's a tough kid, man. I tip my hat to him. So I think Staley got to go, but I get it. But I think he'll lame up coach next year.
Yeah, so I agree with everybody. Here's the thing about the Chargers. I think Corey alluded to it. First of all, I picked Jacksonville to win. I'm excited. I picked Jacksonville to win because of the coaching. I just knew that somehow Staley's gonna mess it up. And here's the thing. You're wasting, Craig, you mentioned it, you're wasting Herbert's years, because now it's going to start to come into question. You know, he's on all these top of quarterbacks list, and it's like, well, he hasn't won anything. And then you're getting the Josh Allens, the Joe Burrows, you know, the Lamars, the Deshaun's, the Mahomes, you know, Derek Carr goes out to New York, they might be better. It's gonna start painting a narrative. And I said this before. They had a chance to hire Daboll 2 years ago, not last year. They interviewed Brian Daboll. All of us on here said that's perfect, right? That is a perfect hire. Because if they had Brian Daboll, he wouldn't have played Mike Williams. They would have rested. If they had Brian Daboll, I would worry. The Chiefs would have to worry because the Chargers would be a lot better. Right? This is 2 years ago. They had him. They're probably kicking themselves in the butt right now. Like, dang it. And the Chargers owners, first of all, they're cheap, so they're not paying Sean Payton $20 million a year. And I don't know what they're gonna do when Herbert's contract comes up. They'll probably pay it, but you know, Staley, listen, Brandon Staley's probably gonna be there for a minute. Because if they're looking at it from hindsight, they lost last year. They went to the playoffs this year. If they go to the playoffs next year and win a game, they're just one of those organizations. I don't think I don't know why they fired Anthony Lynn, but I think they're going to be patient with Staley, because he has progressed. Not defending him, me as an owner, I wouldn't have hired him in the first place. I had reservations about him. Supposed to be a great defensive coordinator, but the Chargers defense sucks every year. They suck. They're probably going to suck. And look who they have on their defense. I don't understand how their defense sucks. I don't. You have Khalil Mack and Bosa and Derwin James. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Anyway, it was a wonderful game. Kicked off the playoffs nice. I loved it. It was exciting. At first, I was like, damn it. I was like, but I'm going to keep watching. And then I was like, uh-oh. Jaguars are down 10. I was like, uh-oh. But, yeah, it didn't make sense. Like, him not running Austin Eckler, that was crazy. I don't know what decisions he was making. And that's why his coaching is questionable, the decision making. All right, Craig, I'm going to start off with you. Dolphins lost to the Bills. Right? But it was a close game without Tua. Give me your thoughts on the game, and Dolphins bring back Tua.
Yeah, the game, I mean, when it was, I think it was like 17-0, I thought maybe it was just going to be status quo, like it was going to blow them out, because, they were projected to win that game, or forecast basically to win that game easily, because obviously the Dolphins didn't have Tua at quarterback. And I mean, for some crazy reason, the Bills just couldn't put him away. Some of the throws made by Josh Allen, and I know he likes to throw these passes up there, and he just gets picked off and all that sometimes, and that's what happened. I mean, one of them wasn't his fault. One of them was kind of dropped or bobbled or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But that deep ball, that deep shot that he took, and they got picked off. I mean, to me, that just wasn't necessary. But that's what he does at some point in time. So, I'm not surprised that I guess I wasn't surprised by the end by the end score for the most part, just because it is the NFL, and I saw the day before the 27 or the comeback made by the Jaguars. So I'm like, okay, but I did kind of expect the Bills to win this game easily. I thought they might pull away in the second half. Instead, it was the Dolphins who still made it close. They had multiple opportunities, I thought, to win that game. Skylar Thompson played okay. He had 2 picks. They couldn't really run the ball, which I wasn't surprised about, because the Bills stopped the run. But I wish they had somehow got Waddle more involved or more catches.
Yeah.
They didn't. And then you also saw, to me, which is the reason why I thought, because you could easily say that the Dolphins were the better team, but there were so many opportunities. I'm going to just chalk it up to youth and inexperience. All those penalties that they had, or just using timeouts when they were about to take a penalty. That 4th down and 1, where I don't know what happened there, because the clock was already stopped.
I don't know what was going on.
Still couldn't get a play in, or couldn't get the right play off. And if they had called that play anyway, it'd have been blown up. So at least they got a second opportunity. But I mean, you had multiple opportunities. You pretty much just use all your timeouts and don't give yourself a really good chance, because you're just blowing it with all these potential penalties on delay a game, or just you have to use the timeout. So I chalked that up to inexperience with Scholar, and inexperience with the coach as well.
Yeah.
Maybe if they had Tua, that wouldn't have happened. I don't know. Maybe if they had Tua, they would have won this game. Who knows? It's possible. But I'm a little bit more concerned about the Bills than I was going into those playoffs, just because I picked them. But the way they looked, I mean, I just thought this was a prime opportunity for them to blow this team out, and they couldn't blow them out. And like I don't know if I'm nervous, or maybe this was just a one-off, and then they'll play a lot better against the Bengals. But it was a divisional. It is, but I mean, and this is a tougher opponent coming up though. And you also had that game that was or that wasn't a few weeks ago. And the Bengals were marching down the field. They scored early, then they were marching down the field again until what happened. Mm-hmm. So I don't know, man. I mean, Josh Allen just likes to throw up these. I don't want to say YOLO, but that's pretty much what they are sometimes. YOLO balls. And
he's doing.
So I am kind of concerned about his turnovers going to this next game. And I'm kind of concerned about the Bills in general. I think the loss of Von Miller is coming back on it. It looks pretty bad not having him there. I just think Joe Burrow could light this team up, especially with how Thompson did with. I mean, he didn't get the ball to Waddle a lot, didn't get the ball to Hill a lot, but I don't know, man. But as far as Tua, I think Tua's going to be. I would bring Tua back. I would at least see what you got in him.
Yeah.
He's been out for 2 or 3 concussions this season. I think the Dolphins did the right thing, which was to rest him or whatever it is. I don't know if he was even close to being cleared to play. Probably not. But bring him back next season. Don't really give him too much exposure in the preseason. Just kind of just work him back a little bit, little by little.
Yeah.
You feel comfortable. Everybody feels comfortable. The doctors, him, the team, the staff, everybody. Then you put him out there. Like, I mean, if he doesn't start week 1, he just doesn't start week 1. I think he'll probably start. I mean,
he'll probably start week 1.
I mean, you got to kind of handle this situation a little bit more closely because he's been through this in protocol a lot this season for a young guy. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, man, if it's just not meant to be, it's just not meant to be. I mean, you still have your whole life ahead of you. Football is just part of it. It's not your whole life. It's not your whole life story. So if you're just not cut out to play football because of concussions, it is what it is, man. They got to go in the direction and figure that out. But as of right now, I will bring him back and have him as my starter for next season.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Mo, what do you think about the Bills-Dolphins game, and do you think that they bring Tua back?
It was a good game. Dolphins fought hard. Let me say this. I think Allen's going to play better, but if he plays like he did against Miami, they're going home. He can't turn the ball over like he did. Miami came to play. I think Tua's gonna come back. I'm glad they didn't play him, but I think he's gonna come back. But I think Skylar Thompson got good experience, and I think you go with them two going into the regular season, and then next year you see how it goes, and then maybe you draft another quarterback or you do whatever you gotta do. But I don't think you draft a quarterback this year. I think you roll with them two. You see what you got, and then you go there. But Scott Thompson played bad. You look at it. Waddle dropped the pass the first series that would have gave him a first down, maybe a touchdown. It was drops there. Scott Thompson played bad. I think Buffalo came out and missed a lot of opportunities. They didn't play their best. But Miami's not far off. Let's just say that. Miami's not far off. So I think it's going to be good to see Tua come back, see what you got with him. Let Skylar Thompson back him up, and then go from there. But the future bright, man.
Oh, man, yeah. It was a good game. It worries me about Josh Allen, those turnovers. It's like a recurring thing. The who you got will get there, but it's going to be interesting. Now, the only thing about Josh Allen, when he turns the ball over, he does recover quickly. So that worries me a little bit, man. It's always something with him. And I like Miami, man. And it was a divisional game, so they know each other. The games is going to be close. They're a divisional opponent. I mean, just like we'll get to the other game later. But I think you got to bring Tua back, but I think they do. The GM says it now, but we got to wait. I just read an article that said Tua's not really. He's not. He's just like a regular person. He's not.
But he also is a guy that would serve as a buffer. Because I'm not sure if those players with the Houston Texans
Mo, that's you?
A so-called attachment to ownership. Sean Payton would be a legitimate.
Oh,
Hey, bro.
yeah, we heard you, man.
Oh, my bad.
Nah,
Something came
so
on my phone.
oh nah, man. So I think they said Tua's not. I just the word is on the tip of my tongue. I just read it. Tua is not prone to any more concussions than anybody else. I really like Tua. I think he started believing in himself. I think he started coming to his own. They have to. They don't have to bring him back, but if they bring him back and then he has the year that he had, they gotta. I don't think a team signs him. If he ends up getting 2 more concussions, his career.
Man, I think
his career is probably over.
I think it's smart to bring him back because I think it's smart to bring him back. I mean, because unless you truly feel like he's done, then I'm not mad at him for trading for a quarterback, drafting a quarterback, whatever. But if you don't feel like his career is done, if you go through the process, feel like the evaluations are good, testing him, it's no way you don't bring him back because it's nothing there. Unless you're going to truly draft, it's nothing there.
Yeah, I mean,
I think he showed enough on the field to warrant coming back. The only reason you don't bring him back is if you think his career is over because of the concussion issue.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's not an unreasonable concern. Stephen Ross has an obsession with Tom Brady. Tried to get him. Brady's going to be on the market. If you think the concussions are an issue, then you go sign Tom Brady. Now, at that point, I don't know if they want to sit Tua for a year and run Brady, or if you then move on from Tua. But the Dolphins are putting together a roster ready to win.
Yeah.
And I think Mike McDaniel showed, like, there was some chatter that he could get fired after that playoff game.
I heard that.
There's no way you can do that after how he looked against Buffalo, how he had that team ready to go in a game that nobody – I didn't pay much attention to the game because I didn't think it was going to be close. And
you look up and you're like, wait a minute. Yeah.
So, kudos to McDaniel for having that team ready to go, putting together that performance that they did. I also kind of understand it from Buffalo's side. Josh Allen has been prone to some turnovers, but you have a Buffalo team that is coming off 2 extremely emotional weeks. Both the playing in the game with Damar Hamlin, then that Patriots game, they came out fired up, had a big emotional win. Honestly, they were probably a bit mentally exhausted on top of any physical stuff at the end of the year. And then you draw a divisional opponent, your first playoff game, in a game that you're expected to win by double digits.
Yeah.
That's tough. So, Buffalo did what they needed to get out of it, but it definitely doesn't instill a ton of confidence. But I am more willing to shake off this game for Buffalo than any of the other results wildcard weekend, just because the Bills have shown what they can do the last couple of years. I trust in McDermott to have them ready to go next week.
Oh, we're going to talk about that later. I've been, stewing. I've been stewing. This is some good games coming up. I'm not going to lie. Some were easy choices and some weren't. Some were not easy choices. All right, Mo. Ravens lost to the Bengals. It was a goal line fumble by Tyler Hunt. If you're the Ravens, you bring back Lamar Jackson. So your thoughts on the game, and do you bring back Lamar Jackson?
For the game, I think the Ravens played their tail off. I do think I'm cool with the quarterback sneak. I think he made a bad decision by jumping over the pile, but I'm cool with the quarterback sneak. But I think Baltimore exposed an issue with Cincinnati that Buffalo's going to expose, and that's offensive line play. But we'll get there later on. But Baltimore played a very, very well played game. I honestly think Lamar's going to be back, but I think it's going to be on a tag. I think he's going to get the tag. The exclusive tag for 45. I think it's $45 million, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, probably.
I don't see a long-term deal this year. I'll be shocked. So let me say this. I wouldn't be surprised either way, but my gut says he's going to be franchise tag. I wouldn't be surprised by anything that happens with this situation, but I am going to say he's going to get franchise tag. That's me.
All right. So the game was very interesting to me, and I put it in text. I was like, this game is going to be closer than I think we picked on who you got.
We didn't even
because I think Joe Burrow just struggles. It's a divisional opponent. I think he struggles against that defense, as he should. It's a divisional opponent, and the Ravens play them tough. The game was good. Tyler Huntley, I don't know about that. The call was good. I don't think it was the execution. That was a 14-point swing. They make that touchdown, we're talking about a totally different thing. And we're talking about a totally different thing. It would be Ravens at Chiefs, right? Yeah, Ravens at Chiefs. And then it would be
Jags at Bills.
Oh. The Ravens, I like the game. It was good. I just want to point that out. And Bengals O-line struggles are very interesting. They always have them, and now they have them again. Here's the thing about the Ravens and Lamar Jackson. He's hurt. He wants a guaranteed contract. Lamar, okay, everybody was mad, especially the Ravens owner was mad that Deshaun Watson signed a fully guaranteed. He came out and said publicly. Then Kyler Murray, right, doesn't sign a fully guaranteed. Russell Wilson doesn't sign a fully guaranteed. Word on the street is they were offered him a $250 million contract with $200 million guaranteed and $133 million signing bonus. He says he wants fully guaranteed. Now, here's the thing. The Ravens have built their whole structure around him. So they kind of have to. But I'm hearing people like, oh, I think the Ravens are going to trade him. And do what? And you know, I heard on the show, Emmanuel Acho speak, and he was like, you know, defense wins championships. They can get rid of them and build on their defense. And I'm like, you got to have a quarterback nowadays. You got to have one. Right? If you want to win a Super Bowl, you got to have a quarterback. That's a fact. That's why Jimmy G is not in San Francisco anymore, because he couldn't make the throws in the Super Bowl. Couldn't make it. That Emmanuel Sanders came back and halted him. Right? So I'm not saying you need an elite quarterback, but you gotta have a decent quarterback, man. You gotta have a decent quarterback to sling it. Matthew Stafford isn't an elite quarterback, but he can sling it. Right? Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes. Right? So it's Tom Brady again. So I just think that they have to bring him back. I think they will. And Corey, I'm gonna let you go. But here's the thing: if he holds out and signs a guaranteed, that means Joe Burrow, he sets the tone. Because then Joe Burrow and Justin Herbert are looking towards that. They're next. And everybody says like, oh, they'll take a discount. Nah, I don't think Joe Burrow or Herbert's taking a discount. And they might say, I want a guaranteed, or mostly guaranteed. So, all right, Corey, what do you think about the game? And then what do you think about if you're the Ravens, do they franchise Lamar? That's the question going on, man.
Yeah. No, I think the game showed a few things. One, it showed the value of John Harbaugh. It shows the value of a really good head coach like that. It shows the value of an offensive line. It's unfortunate that Cincinnati went out, addressed their offensive line issues, and then they're down 3 starters now. That's a lot to overcome. It's a similar situation to what the Chiefs were in 2 years ago. Cincy has the offense to potentially get them to a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But if they got matched up against, say, San Francisco, that Niners defense would just beat the crap out of Joe Burrow all night long.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think it does show the value of Lamar Jackson. I mean, the numbers bear that out. They scored double the points with Lamar.
Yep.
It's, as you pointed out, James, their system is kind of tailored towards Lamar, tight end heavy. I do think that has kind of cost them in that they've not really invested in wide receivers much. That he's gotten Bateman, a 2nd-round pick, and that's all they've really invested in his time in Baltimore. It's not enough, but I think they're dumb if they don't bring him back because
they're dumb.
As a Colts fan, if Lamar's available, go get me a 27-year-old franchise quarterback. Sure.
Yeah.
They don't grow on trees. You got it right when you took him at pick 32. Don't screw around. I don't care what it costs. I know, if he's wanting a fully guaranteed contract, then I get why the team would be hesitant to do that because NFL owners don't want to go anywhere near those type of contracts.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Lamar is in a position to try to get him closer. Herbert and Burrow are going to be in a position to get it even closer.
Yeah.
And
they're going to push for it, man.
Potentially a matter of time. It's just how long can they keep it off? But no, if you're Baltimore, you have to bring Lamar back because he makes them a Super Bowl contender right away for next year.
Yep.
Just being on the roster.
That's close. 200 and guaranteed, 250, 133. So I wonder if they push that up a little bit. 230 guaranteed, 250, 150. I don't know, but Craig, what do you think, man? You think about the game, and then do the Ravens bring Lamar back? Because that's everywhere. That's everywhere. Every sports channel I look up, it's like trending everywhere.
I thought the game was what it was going to be, which was a defensive game, a low-scoring game. I thought that Baltimore had multiple opportunities to win this game. I thought you could look at them and say they were the better team. They had, that play where Huntley goes over the top, it was designed to go under. He's supposed to sneak it in. They could have done that like he's supposed to. They could have given the ball to Dobbins, who was upset after the game, and rightfully so. He was running the ball a little bit for this first game back in a while. He looked pretty good. I think he played against the Steelers the week before, but he looked good against the Bengals, and his multiple opportunities. He scored a touchdown early. Could have just given the ball this time, and they, for whatever reason, they didn't want to do it. So that was a huge play, that was basically the ball game. So it's unfortunate that had to happen if you're a Ravens fan or just for the Ravens in general. But hats off to the Bengals. That was a great play. Corey brought up the offensive line issues for the Bengals. It looks like the same thing that they dealt with last season in the Super Bowl. when they had to play the Rams. It just I don't know how they get through this with this makeshift line now that they have. It's unfortunate. And, it does remind me of the Chiefs. It does remind me of the Bengals last year. So I'm not sure what they're going to do. Fortunately, Von Miller's out, but I mean, still the Bills can get after you. And so we saw the Ravens get after Joe Burrow in this game. We also saw him stop the run. So the Ravens to me were the more physical. They were the better team. They just had some missed opportunities. I thought Huntley played his best game probably ever. Definitely this season to me, and it couldn't come at a better time. But at the same time, that turnover, man, just hurt him. But you can see the offense. The offensive hasn't scored more than 17 points in a game since Lamar Jackson basically went down, or basically hadn't played a full game since the Jaguars game was the last time he played a full game.
Crazy.
27 points. Other than that, this is the most points. 17. They got 17 twice in the last 7 games. So it's that offense is not the same. Now, granted, they don't have a lot of receivers other than basically Andrews. They don't have consistent running backs. There's always somebody seems to be getting hurt, but man, they got to figure something out in the offseason, especially with the wide receivers. I read something today, or I saw it pop on my phone that Justin Jefferson by himself and Tyreek Hill by himself had more receiving yards than the whole Ravens wide receivers as a group, which is, I mean, I don't know how that happens, because that should never happen. One player beats your whole team as far as wide receivers go.
That's crazy.
That just tells you how terrible to me that the Ravens receivers have been this season, and not only this season, but in seasons past. Like they're just not known. Like they need a true number one. Maybe if Bateman is healthy, maybe he can be that. But I mean, until then, it's just not happening. But as far as I definitely think they need to bring back Lamar. They'll probably do a franchise tag because they don't want to spend money on a guy who's missed 10 games in the last 2 seasons. But I mean, he's kind of holding a little bit of leverage too, because you can look at it and say, well, the team is 2-4 or 2-5 or something like that in the last 7 games. Never scoring more than 17 points. And then the Ravens can sit back and say, yeah, but you missed 10 games or 11 games now in the last 2 seasons. I mean, both teams have their side or whatever it is that you want to call it, of reasons why or why not. But at the end of the day, the Ravens are in position to win a Super Bowl with Lamar Jackson, not with Tyler Huntley or who, even though he's a free agent too, or whoever is going to be out there playing quarterback for him next year. Like I said, they definitely need to figure out some things with that wide receiver group. They definitely need to figure out what's going on with the running backs, because they're always iffy. But if you have Lamar Jackson, you have a chance to win every time. And they need to do something like that to figure it out. I think he'll probably, I would assume he'll probably get somewhere between Kyler Murray and Deshaun as far as games. Yeah. He has to get more than Kyler Murray. But
they said 200. This is what is speculation.
I don't think the Ravens are going to want to give him anywhere near Deshaun. I don't know what the Browns were thinking. And it's an anomaly.
The Browns,
they're desperate.
Man. It's the Browns, man.
Yeah, but I mean, it's just like, so they're not going to do that. Just because they did it doesn't mean we're going to do it. If I'm the Ravens, I'm not paying you that much. And even though I think he's worth it, he's been MVP. So they just need to figure that out. But I think the first franchise tag, and then see what he does next season, and then try to do some type of contract next season.
All right. So 2 things I read, right? If they do the franchise tag exclusive or non-exclusive, it's $45 million. And then if they franchise tag Lamar again, it's 54, which means they would have paid $100 million for 2 years. Guaranteed. Now, they said teams are going to inquire about him. They said the Carolina Panthers.
As teams should. They should inquire about
and Atlanta Falcons.
They should want to try to see what
Man.
You gotta do.
Would you imagine if you got Sean Payton and Lamar? in a weak division in the NFC where there's no quarterbacks. All right, okay. No, I'm not gonna say that. You got Jalen Hurts, Dak Prescott, Aaron Rodgers,
Kirk
Cousins, maybe Jared Goff. But look at the names we're saying: Kirk Cousins, Jared Goff. You know what I'm saying? We're not talking about Mahomes, Burrow, Herbert.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Allen, Deshaun. I think Deshaun's gonna play better. You know what I'm saying? Like, could he? The NFC is wide open. So, I just read that I think we should keep our eyes open. If I don't know if the Ravens want to pay, and here's the crazy thing: if they don't pay him, Ravens fans are going to be pissed because they're not going to be good for a while.
That's well, and DaCosta was, the guy who inherited the GM job.
Yeah.
He was highly sought after. A lot of teams came calling. He kept turning it down because he knew he was taking over the reins in Baltimore.
Yes.
You decide to not re-sign or to just trade Lamar Jackson, you better be right and right away, because you give up an MVP, 27-year-old MVP winning quarterback, and you miss the playoffs the next year. I think that can cost you your job pretty quickly, because that is
him
a
and
big
Harbaugh,
time
they're
decision.
Clean house.
And that could end up a huge mistake that blows up in your face in a hurry. DaCosta seems smart. I don't expect that to happen, but that feels like one of those decisions that can cost you your job quickly.
Yep. Especially if he goes to like Atlanta and then they're in the playoffs and then they go to the championship game and then you're like, we're 7-10 again for the second year in a row. Oh, all right. My bad, Craig. He goes to Carolina, and then the Carolina is good for 4 years in a row, and then the Ravens suck. Like, Harbaugh's gonna be gone, and then you have to realize, what were we doing, and is it worth it? Because we all know how valuable franchise quarterbacks are. So. That's interesting. We're gonna see. All right. The Cowboys beat the Bucks, and my thoughts of the game. I'm sorry, Cowboys fans. I picked the Bucks, and the Cowboys came out and they obliterated them. I mean, they embarrassed them. And oh man. The Bucks look bad. The Bucks look like who they were, a team under 500. So I thought it was going to be a better game, but it's going to be interesting. Cowboys play good, man. Schultz, man, that one pass, Dak had the CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb was like wide open, and Carlton Davis was definitely supposed to check him, and I don't know what he was thinking. He looked and was like, "Oh, CeeDee Lamb is wide open, crazy." So I got to give it to the Cowboys, and I don't know, man. Is Tom Brady going to retire? He looked like the age is catching up. I know he doesn't have a run game, but he threw a red zone interception. I don't think he wants to get hit. He was distracted this year. This is just the worst that I've seen Tom Brady play. And we've seen this from great players, man. So I don't know if he comes back next year. I wouldn't be surprised because he doesn't want to end his career on that. But if he goes to Miami and plays the same way, at this time, it's time to go. So I don't know if he retires. I don't. But he told Rodney Harrison an interesting quote. He has a podcast with Jim Gray. I believe it's Jim Gray. Oh, I think it is. But he said that he'll continue to play football if he feels that he can't make the throws that he can't anymore. And we'll see. Jim Gray and Larry Fitzgerald. So it's we'll see it. So it's some teams have won him. Miami might flirt with him. As my NFL team commanders, I don't want him. Here's the thing: Tom Brady comes to your city, he's gonna put fans in the seats. And you're always gonna be on TV, no matter what your record. I just don't want him. I think he's past his prime. But I think the Vegas Raiders could go after him. I think the Miami Dolphins could go after him. I don't think he goes back to Tampa. He might go to Carolina. So I don't think he goes to the. I know everybody's like, oh, the Raiders in Miami. The AFC is, he likes competition, so he might go. But those are the teams I kind of see him at. Maybe New York, the Jets, maybe. Patriots fans will hate it, but they'll get over it. All right. So, Corey, what were your thoughts on the game? And do you think Tom Brady retires, or do you think he comes back, or what NFL team?
The game, I think you kind of hit it on. The game looked like a game between two teams that are not on the same level. It looked like the Bucs look like a team that came in with a sub 500 record. I think there's a chance that Tom Brady gets Byron Leftwich fired with his play this year. Because yes, the offensive line was injured and as a result didn't play great. But there was way too much skill position talent on that Bucs team for Brady to look as awful as he did. And I don't think, like in that playoff game, he didn't just look bad. He looked awful. Brady's always been a guy that can get easily rattled. You hit him early, he'll get rattled, and he's not the same quarterback. But that's also most any quarterback in the NFL. There's very few that can just get the crap beat out of them and still keep playing, kind of like Mahomes did in that Super Bowl against Tampa. So I don't know if that's necessarily a major criticism against him, but yeah, he definitely didn't want to get hit. That interception he threw in the end zone was just
crazy,
mind-numbingly bad. Because did he think he just put more on it to get it out of the end zone? Because there was no receiver anywhere nearby.
That joke was crazy.
Yeah, it was bad. I've heard some talk that Leftwich could be out as OC potentially because of this, taking the fall for Brady's poor play all season. I don't know if Brady's done. There's Ben or Easterling. He is a draft guy that covers the Bucs that I follow on Twitter, and he seems to think that Brady's coming back to Tampa. Apparently, there's some restructuring that can happen that would free up like $60 million in cap space for the Bucs, so it would allow them to make one more big push for Brady's. What
you think
if he comes back should be his last year. I sent that clip of him at the end of his press conference that really sounded like a guy who didn't intend on being back, but who knows?
Didn't sound like he was coming back.
Yeah, the thing is, I don't know where he goes. You look around the landscape, you look at the teams that need a quarterback. I could only think of two because I had so many people would start of the year. Oh, he'll go to San Francisco. No, they're not going to bench Brock Purdy for Tom Brady.
I don't really think they had a chance at him and they said no. I don't think Kyle Shanahan likes the whole come in and do the playbook, and I don't think he likes that.
No,
I don't think he likes that.
He wants to run his system.
Yeah.
He's not going to want his quarterback pushing back like that.
Yeah.
I think going back to the AFC East is the only thing that I could possibly see. I could see the Jets doing it because they want to bring in a veteran quarterback, and Wilson sitting behind Brady might be good for him. And I could see the Dolphins doing it because the owner has been obsessed with Tom Brady.
Obsessed. That's why. Is that why they lost the draft pick?
Yeah, the tampering. So I could see both of those owners also wanting to do it, just kind of, knife at the Patriots in that organization by getting their, all powerful, almighty deity for so many years. But those moves don't really make sense for Brady, because why would you go willingly back to the AFC East when it's actually competitive now? Like it's not the cakewalk division that he left and was in for 20 years. Like he would have to actually compete and actually have to win games against good teams to make to win that division. And I don't know.
Yeah.
I you look around the rest of the NFL, teams that could use a quarterback. Why you look at Tom Brady's play on the field? Why would you sign up for that? You'd be signing his reputation, which I would argue is a little bit overblown, and he's not that guy anymore.
Nope.
Tom Brady this season looked like Tom Brady the last 2 years in New England. When you had diminishing talent around him on that offense, he started to look pretty ordinary. And that's what this Tampa Bay team looked like, with an offensive line that he was actually getting hit behind. So he probably should retire. I wouldn't be surprised if Ego pushes him to play one more season and try to prove that he does still have it and not go out like this, getting embarrassed on national television in the playoffs. But if it's not in Tampa, I don't see a realistic landing spot.
Damn. And his last first round exit was his last game as a New England Patriot. Wow. Craig, what were your thoughts about the Bucks Patriots, and Bucks Patriots? What are your thoughts about Dallas and the Bucks? And do you think Tom Brady comes back? Or do you see him in Carolina? Say that. Let me stop messing with him, man. Just a kid.
As far as this game, I started watching wrestling. That's how bad it was. Yeah, I did. Man. I did. I've seen Vikings and the Colts, and I've seen the Jaguars and the Chargers. Comebacks can happen, and it's possible. But that offense just looked horrible in the first half, to the point where I just didn't even think they had a remote chance of coming back. And they didn't. I started to feel a little bit different when I saw First Take and they were in Tampa, and Stephen A. Smith was doing this whole stupid thing that he does where he goes up on the Cowboys. And I kind of started to be like, feel like.
Me too, man. I fell for it.
Winning this game now, because Stephen A. Smith is just so gung-ho about them. And he's doing this stupid bit that he does, and
he wasn't the only one. It was a lot of people, Craig.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying he's like one of the forefront.
Yeah, that's true.
And all this stuff, and
he's already talking trash already.
I can understand it, and I'm kind of there with him for this game coming up. And I thought Tampa was going to win this game. They were at home. Dak Prescott was doing what he was doing, which was throwing interceptions. And the Cowboys, they just don't win games. They just don't win playoff games. They, for the first time in 30 years, they won a road playoff game. So, and Dak Prescott got a second playoff win. So I just thought that this was a prime opportunity for Tampa. They looked pretty good, but I should have known better. They were 8-9. They were 8-9 for a reason, and it showed. Like they just obviously they can't run the ball.
Nope.
That showed. Tom Brady, I don't know why he threw the ball 66 times, man. I mean.
That's crazy.
Yeah, to me, there's too much talent with Godwin, and especially just Godwin and Evans alone. Like, I don't understand why. To me, I mean, maybe clearly they're more knowledgeable about football than I am, but I mean, you got Diggs on one side and nobody on the other side. Why not just try to take advantage of that? I think they did. I don't know what they did because I really wasn't paying attention that they were down.
They should have because the other corner was out.
Right. So I'm not sure.
They took advantage of it.
Dallas' only blemish pretty much in this game was their kicker. That's why they brought in another kicker. He was horrible. But I just thought that Tampa just had an opportunity to do something in this game that Auburn just couldn't do anything. And it was just an embarrassing game to be down that much that early and then having to rely on a 45-year-old quarterback to try to bring you back, which I think he's capable of, but I mean, not when Dallas is playing like that. And I just thought finally Dak didn't throw for the first time in like 7-8 games. He didn't throw a pick, which was good. So, I mean, you got to give credit to the Cowboys for that win. It was an easy win for them. So, as far as Tom coming back next year, I think Tom is going to come back next year, play football one more year, at least one more year. Probably, I wouldn't be surprised if he plays another couple years. I don't know if it's going to be in Tampa though. I think Corey gave at least one good one that I was thinking about, which was the Jets. I think James said it too. The Jets, I think they have, obviously it's a tougher division. So why would you leave the confines of the easiest division in football, one of the easiest divisions in football, to go play for a tougher team? But I mean, there at least are in a tougher conference and a tougher division. There he at least has a running game when he gets Breece Hall back. Carter's there. He has some more young, good wide receivers.
Yep.
Solid tight end. The defense is pretty good. It's just going to be in a tougher division and a tougher conference. And it's not going to be the warm weather of Tampa anymore. It's going to be back to the cold of New York. So, I mean, I don't know if you would want to do that, but I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. I think I think Vegas is another one just because of McDaniels. He knows McDaniels. There's a wide receiver there with Devontae. There's a couple wide receivers actually. They also have Darren Waller. Winning game. We saw Josh Jacobs lead the league in rushing this year. The defense not horrible, but the defense isn't that good. But everything else.
And he knows McDaniel's system.
Yeah, and it's in I think Allegiant Center or Allegiant Field, I believe is what it's called. Is a dome, right?
Yes,
I mean,
I believe it is.
So they have that. Once again, though, it's a tougher conference, it's a tougher division. You know, I think Tom Brady in that division would probably be the third, fourth best quarterback in that division, which you don't really say a lot about Tom Brady. And I think the Dolphins is another. Oh, Corey did say the Dolphins. I'm bugging. I think the Dolphins is another one. Just because I don't know what's going to happen with Tua. They're going to have to make that decision pretty quickly, though, because of I don't know if they want to wait that long to sign Tom Brady or trade for him, or not trade for him, but to bring him in there as a free agent quarterback to play for that team when you don't know what you're going to have with Tua, or maybe you do know what you're going to have with Tua. Would you want to put Tua do that? Or would you just trade Tua at that point for a 1 year off quarterback? I don't know. I can understand it probably in New York because I mean you could easily sit.
It's a dome.
Zach Wilson.
It's a dome. It's a dome. Allegiant Stadium is a dome.
Okay.
So that's what he'd be playing on.
And in Vegas, there's no quarterback. Stidham, yeah. So I mean, at least I think you would have to either try to trade Tua or maybe like do a sign and trade or something like that if you're just going to trade him to Miami to Tampa. But
yeah,
I don't know, man. I just think Tom Brady's gonna be back again. I think he was really missing Gronk. I think Gronk could have made something out of nothing for that team. I know they couldn't run the ball, but I think he would have been a more of a reliable, known target that he's been having for playing with for the last, I don't know, couple years, 5, 6, 7 years, going back to New England.
I agree with that.
It's just I don't know what to say, man. I think Evans and Godwin are way better than that. I don't know what happened in this for this whole season.
Yeah.
And Fournette, I thought he was going to be since they got rid of Jones, he was going to be the man. But
I thought he was going to ball out this year.
I think I kept him on a couple of fantasy teams.
I thought he was going to ball out.
He was horrible. I don't know, man.
I thought he was going to be way better than
he started out the first game of the season, and it just got way worse every game. It just seemed like he just never you just never could get any traction going. It just was horrible. It was a horrible experience.
Which is crazy because I thought that he was gonna go into this year and ball out.
He had a prime opportunity. There's no.
I thought he was, yo. I ain't gonna lie.
Will Jones. I mean, he had White, but I mean, like, there's nobody else there. I don't understand what happened. Granted, I think the offensive line was banged up a little bit, and they were.
Yeah, they were.
But man, still, like, there's no excuse to me.
Nah, they were banged up, but like, come on. I mean, so the drop off is crazy, and then we're gonna go on to who you got. The drop off was crazy. How you said what?
Didn't even have 700 rushing yards. And they played 16 or 17 games.
17? Did he play all 17?
I gotta count.
Because he wasn't.
He played 16 plus another playoff game. But even if you factor in the playoff game,
he wasn't playing good.
He still doesn't have 700 yards.
He wasn't playing good. And the crazy thing is, they won the Super Bowl. Then they go to the divisional round. This is a huge drop off. Huge.
I mean, other than the first game where he had 127, and next closest is against Arizona, he had 72. That's the next class.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
And 3 touchdowns. That's it. I don't know, man.
All right, Mo. What are your thoughts on the Dallas Bucks game? And is Tom Brady retired, or does he come back and play?
Clearly you see that's a better team. I said from the break, that's a better team. I didn't think the blowout was going to happen like that.
That was crazy.
But that was a better team. Dallas did whatever they wanted to do. Didn't do nothing special. But I think it was a clear indication that something had to be done. Even though they fell behind quick, Brady should threw the ball six times. Ain't no way. The run game was inefficient. Now I'm looking like, where do you go from here? Is it Bowles? Is it Luffage? Like, what do you do? I don't see this thing. I heard multiple picks. I heard multiple conversations.
Yep.
And I'm gonna go to two people where I said, why? That doesn't make any sense.
Okay.
I heard somebody say Miami. I heard somebody say Raiders. Both of those don't make no sense because you win games and put fans in stands, but both teams don't play on defense. And Brady's great, but at this stage of his career, is he that great to carry it?
No.
Is he that great to carry both of those offenses to a Super Bowl or because at the end of the day, Brady not gonna go nowhere just to play for win the playoff game. I've done that.
Yeah.
I've done that. So I want to see where he's gonna go. To me, honestly, I think he should retire. That's me. I think a lot of people are looking at that, Mo. I don't see no team he can go to right now to where we can sit here and say, because of him, he's honestly a Super Bowl contender. Like, what team could we sit here and say, okay, Brady's there, they're honestly a Super Bowl contender?
Oh,
I don't see it. Is there any team you can go to right now where you can look and be like, all right, they're legitimate Super Bowl contenders?
Nah.
With him. Like, we're not saying adding other pieces. We're saying with him.
Nah.
And that's my point. Like, if you're not going to say that as you, Brady, right now, if we don't say that, retire. Like, what are you doing right now? You're a GOAT. Like, why keep adding stats to your career for what? For no reason.
That's a good point. All right, guys. This is my favorite time of the evening. Everybody, who you got. Actually, this is the divisional playoffs. And next week, it's only going to be 2 games on who you got. Wow. That's crazy, man. That is crazy. All right, Corey, we're going to start off with the NFC. You got a good one. Cowboys at 49ers. Who you got?
All right, coaching, easy. Give me Shanahan. I have well documented no love for Mike McCarthy. I think that Shanahan's done a heck of a job. All the credit in the world to him for what he's done with the 3rd string quarterback. Hands down, yes, the Cowboys won a playoff game big last week, but you also have to factor in the opponent. So, give me Shanahan all day. Offensively, obviously, San Francisco. I honestly don't know if there's an offense I would take over the 49ers right now. They've got a very good offensive line. You've got extremely talented skill position guys. They're not deep at the skill position, but between Kittle, McCaffrey, Ayuk, and Debo, that's a hell of a punch. And it's really hard to stop. And then you've got Brock Purdy just doing exactly what they need him to do.
Yeah.
And as I said earlier, he's a Jimmy Garoppolo that is more athletic and is willing to push the ball down the field and take those big shots. Yeah. And with a guy that can do that, that offense is opened up, and it's impressive that everything is kind of lining up for San Francisco there offensively. And I know for me, Dallas, the biggest hamstring to that offense is the push to keep wanting to give Ezekiel Elliott as many carries as they do.
Ooh.
He's not the same guy. And they need to, sure, let him come in and spell, but
Paulo looked good too last game.
Yeah, his time's done.
He's probably gonna sign as a free agent somewhere as a starter.
Yeah, if he can't get it in Dallas, I would leave and go start because Tony Pollard's a very solid running back right now. He should be getting the workload right now. Yeah. I don't know what Dallas is doing there, and I think that kind of holds back their offense some because you're not getting as many positive plays on first down running it with Ezekiel Elliott. Defensively, I am gonna still go San Francisco. The Cowboys' defense was impressive. It's Micah Parsons is probably the best all-around defensive player in that game on Sunday. Hell, he might just be the best player in that game on Sunday. He's that good already. It's crazy. But San Francisco, I think, just has a lot better back end than Dallas does. And that's the real difference for me. And it also helps that you've got Nick Bosa on the 49ers that while, yes, Michael Parsons better, it's not a huge gap.
No.
Overall,
it's kind of like 8-1-8.
Yeah. If you tell me, oh, no, you have to have Nick Bosa instead of Michael Parsons, yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's not like I can't believe that. It's like, well.
But overall, look, I know everything's trending so well for San Francisco. It seems like Dallas could come up with an upset out of nowhere. I don't know what to make of the Cowboys. I don't know what the playoff game Monday night, which I also think that having a playoff game on Monday night is really dumb and kind of puts the Cowboys at a little bit of a disadvantage with the Niners having 2 extra days. Yep. I know Shanahan pushed back and said, "Oh, those days don't mean anything," but I get the intent. I don't know that I would continue that going forward if I was the NFL. But that's
Jerry likes that.
Of course he does, because he cares more about money than he does
winning. You know what it is.
But I don't know if we learned anything from that Cowboys-Bucks game, because the Cowboys looked pretty awful last week of the season against the Commanders. was what they did to the Bucks a product of like that's who the Cowboys are and they're actually a decent team, or was that a byproduct of just how bad Tampa Bay is right now and the fact that they probably shouldn't have been in the playoffs at all in the first place and just how badly they backed their way in? I don't know. I can't take the Cowboys too seriously yet because they struggled down the stretch and they beat up on a bad team. San Francisco is doing everything they're supposed to for the last 2 months right now. So I know the spread, the last I saw, it's like 4 points. I like San Francisco to be able to cover.
Okay.
I think the Niners can run the ball well enough to kind of neutralize some of that pass rush, and they've got enough quick hits with Ayuk and Debo to help neutralize that pass rush.
Yeah.
And I think that the Cowboys secondary can get exploited a little bit. So give me San Francisco in this one. I'm going to say 31-20.
Oh, okay. Craig, Dallas at 49 is who you got.
Well, I'm not really going to waste time with it because I got the 49ers across the board in all categories. I think I'm not really sold on Mike McCarthy still. And I think Shanahan has done a great job having to deal with 3 different quarterbacks throughout the season. They're at one point they were 3-4. Now they've finished off the regular season with 10 wins in a row. Then they just won against Seattle, so they won 11 games in a row, longest winning streak in the league. Obviously, they have the best defense in the league, so that goes without saying. But just the fact that Brock Purdy came in and he's thrown 16 touchdowns and 3 picks in 7 games, and what
crazy
had to do with everything going on. Excuse me. You know, I know they got Christian McCaffrey. And I know at some point they lost George Kittle for a little bit. They lost Debo for a little bit. I think they even lost what's the left tackle's name? Played for
They did. Trent Williams.
I would say Trent Richardson for some reason. Trent Williams. They lost him for a little bit. So, you know, they've had to overcome a lot. I know Dallas has as well, but Mike McCarthy, man, I'm just waiting for it to happen. I think it's going to happen this week. Offense, like I said, I'm picking 49ers. I think Dallas obviously had a great game last week. Dak, for the first time in 7 games, did not throw a pick. It was definitely his best game of the season.
Yeah.
Came at the right time, and they went out there and they did what they had to do. He ran the ball. He even did a nice quarterback bootleg that looked like the one from years ago with Peyton Manning, the Broncos. So everything looked good, man. Everything worked out for them in that game. It looked good on paper. Going into it, I thought they were the better team, but I just thought they would just implode on themselves like they normally do. And unfortunately, or fortunately, they came out and they won the game. So, you know, hats off to them. But I just think the 49ers, what their offense is doing, it's clicking right now. Purdy's just out there. He's really seeing the field. He's playing well. He's able to get the ball down the field. The offense just looks a lot better. If Christian McCaffrey can run the ball and they didn't get him the ball in space enough in terms of him catching passes. They didn't really need to, I guess. But I mean, I think he's going to be utilized a lot, especially having to deal with Parsons. They Debo looked good. Brandon Ayuk has looked pretty good so far this year, and Kittle is like the number 1 target for him. So I think their offense is going to still be flourishing. I don't know what Ezekiel Elliott is doing in this offense anymore. I think he's just there because of his name and because of his contract.
Yes.
I just don't know
the contract,
what they're going to get out of him going forward. I don't know what to expect. I mean, I don't really think they're going to be able to run the ball anyway because 49ers run defense. But I mean, I don't know what Zeke Elliott is capable of anymore. So I kind of want to see what happens to him this week. I think I don't know what he's going to get. I think Pollard is clearly the better back. He's just not getting paid as much as Zeke, so they have to figure out a way to make that work. I don't know. I wouldn't let Pollard go, but they're going to have a decision to make next season.
Yep.
Like I said, the defense, the Cowboys once again lead the league in turnover or takeaways. So, their defense is all over the place, taking passes and being able to score off of those. That's why their points per game is so high. That's one of the reasons anyway. But for the 49ers defense, man, like obviously it's going to be a good matchup to watch Parsons do his thing on one side and then watch Bosa do his thing on the other side. So that's going to be interesting to see who can put more pressure on which quarterback and who's going to make more plays. But I just, once again, I still think that other cornerback side, whoever's over there, opposite Trey Diggs, they need to be exploited. And I think the 49ers can exploit it. They have, just like the Bucks did, they have two good wide receivers. I thought the Bucks were going to do something with it. They didn't. I think the 49ers can as well, or 49ers can. And I think they have multiple people that can go at them, Kittle or Ayuk or Kittle or Debo. So, I mean, they have plenty of options. Even Chris McCaffrey, they wanted to.
Yep.
They have plenty of options. So I just don't know what Dallas defense is going to do. Unless they can get pressure on Purdy, I'm just not seeing it. I just don't know. I think this is I know this is a revenge game for Dallas. This is like their Super Bowl type thing or whatever they want to call it. From what I've been hearing from some Cowboys fans at work.
Crazy. Me too.
Well, I don't know, man. We'll see what happens.
Super Bowl.
I just don't think the Cowboys are going to win this game. I didn't pick them last week. I'm not picking them again this week. I just think the 49ers are the better team. And I think at home this year versus being on the road, they were able to overcome it last year thanks to penalties and poor clock management. That could possibly come back again this season. But even still, I just think the 49ers are the better team. I think they'll win this game. I got the 49ers 34-24.
Mo, Cowboys versus 49ers. Who you got?
Coaching. I'm going to go Shanahan. Pretty much, I'm going to go San Fran across the board. This is tough. It's gonna be one on the line scrimmage. And I know it sounds cliche, but I'm gonna go San Fran. 27-24.
Yeah.
I think it'll be a tough game.
All right. So coaching, I got Shanahan. I don't like him, but Mike McCarthy has went 12-5 2 years in a row, so got some respect. I got my respect. I gotta go Shanahan. What he's done with Brock Purdy, phenomenal. Mr. Irrelevant is now relevant, and he's probably gonna be the 49ers starting quarterback going forward. And that's Shanahan, man. Shout out to him. Offense, even though Dallas has one of the highest scoring offenses, I just don't think and I think y'all hit it on the head with Zeke Elliott. I do think it's his contract. I don't know if they bring back Tony Pollard. He might want to go start and get the most money, which I'm not mad at. Teams need running backs. He'll go somewhere and start. And then you got CeeDee Lamb, who's phenomenal. Schultz is phenomenal. Dak is good, but Dak is better than Purdy. But running back, Christian McCaffrey and Elijah Mitchell are better than Zeke and Pollard. Receivers, this is unquestionable. You got to put McCaffrey in there. And then you got Brandon Ayuk, Deebo Samuel, and George Kittle. George Kittle has been balling since Brock Purdy came. Balling. And with Brock Purdy's on a rookie contract, they're probably going to bring back Ayuk. Man, they are loaded and could get Bosa. The San Francisco is loaded, man. Defense, I like Dallas' defense. But like y'all said, they're vulnerable on the opposite side. And Tampa could not take advantage of it. But San Francisco will. I think you're right, Corey. They're going to pass rush, and they're going to establish the running game, and they're going to get Debo in the backfield. They're going to get Ayuk on some screens. They're going to get Kittle on some screens. Debo on some screens. They're going to open it up because they're going to start getting big gains. Purdy's going to become more comfortable, even though he probably became more comfortable after the first half of last week's game. And I think the 49ers open this up. And I think the problem is with Dallas is they're not consistent. You'll get a great game out of Dak, and he'll beat Tom Brady, and he'll come out in San Francisco and throw a pick and fumble, and they lose the game. That's the consistencies of Dak. I think that San Francisco takes advantage of it. San Francisco is a really sound, disciplined team, and I think they win based on consistency. And I think the 49ers win 31-24. I don't think it's a close game. And one of my good friends, Craig knows, Todd, I was like, hey, this is the conversation, right? He goes, sad. I was like, hey man, you think Cowboys have a chance? He goes, saddest part is I don't trust us to remain consistent. Then I said, I haven't made my picks yet. Hope it's a good game. We got legit shots to go to the Super Bowl. I didn't respond. And then he sends another same text message. This is how Dallas fans are. I was like, listen, man, I'm not going to respond to that. You just said you were consistent, and now you're saying you're going to the Super Bowl. Listen, man, they're not. All right, Craig. It's another good one, man. Giants versus Eagles. Who you got? A good one.
Coaching. You know what? Coaching. I'm sticking with. I'm going with Brian DeBall.
Okay.
Hey, look, man. I think just going back on what I said last week. I think the job that he's done with this team. They won a playoff game last week. They're coming off of that. With a road upset, and then just the whole season in general, what he's done with Daniel Jones. I thought he was going to be gone after the first couple of weeks, first couple of games of the season. He's still there. They're doing it with basically no wide receivers. You got to give him credit for that. Saquon Barkley pretty much the only offense, and I just didn't have him penciled in as 9 wins. I thought 6 wins, maybe 5. Somewhere around that range, and they pretty much surpassed that and got into the playoffs. And like I said, they won a playoff game, so I got to give them credit for that. Mm-hmm. Offense is definitely going Eagles. I think the Giants' offense is pretty much limited to Saquon. If Saquon's not having a good game, it's going to be tough for me. It's going to be tough for the Giants to go out and be successful with their offense. I think Richie James and I don't even remember the other guy's name, a couple wide receivers that he got. They're playing pretty good. I thought after Shepard went down, and then obviously they traded away Tony and Galladay. He hasn't really played at all. I didn't really have anything for that team, but they played pretty well. But still, man, AJ Brown, Devontae, and obviously Sanders had his best season ever this year. So Goddard's back. So obviously it all falls on the health of Jalen Hurts. If he comes out and he plays like he did, it seems like a while ago since he's actually played. Not only that, but it seems like a while ago since he's actually played well in a game, a meaningful game, I guess. But because he didn't look good against the Giants with backups a few weeks ago. That I'm gonna give him a little bit of a pass just because he was coming back for the first time in weeks.
Last time he looked good was against the Giants.
Yeah, you're right. Against the Giants,
they punished him.
He didn't look good against the Bears the week after, but yeah, the Giants was the last game he looked good. So it's all fitting that he's playing this team again for the third time. It's a division game, so you never can tell what's going to happen. Because you beat a team twice early doesn't mean you're gonna. It's like we saw with the other 2 games from the wild card round.
Yep.
We're supposed to be blowouts, and they ended up being close games. So I'm surprised that this is a close game as well. I think the Giants are more than capable of competing. It's just that if Jalen Hurts is 100% healthy, I don't know how much of a chance I would actually give the Giants, but anything's possible. On the defensive side, I'm going with the Eagles. The Giants defense is playing really well. Excuse me, they were able to go in and pull an upset off the Vikings. I thought that was impressive. I think the Eagles, though, their defense is pretty much. I mean, at times, sometimes they can be inconsistent, but more often than not, like their defense is one of the best in the NFL. I have more faith in them. I have more faith definitely in their corners. I like Bradbury. I like big play Slay. So I want to see what happens with, and this is pretty much a revenge game for Bradbury anyway. He's played them already twice, but this is the more meaningful of the three. So I kind of want to see what he does in that game. I overall, man, I just think that the Eagles have the team to beat here in the NFC. Even though I think the 49ers are right there with them, neck and neck, and the Cowboys are just a step behind. I think this game is a game they should win easily.
Yeah.
I would not be surprised if this game is a field goal game at the end, because these two teams know each other well. Division game, third time this season they're seeing each other. The Giants are now bringing back everybody. They're bringing back the starters again that they didn't play in Week 18. They're coming off that win. The Eagles, I still don't know what the status of Jalen Hurts is, if he's 100%. So we'll see, man. But
he said he is. He practiced. I looked at the official report.
Yeah,
he's not on there.
All right, man. We'll see.
He's not on the injury report. I don't know if he's his health, but he's not on there.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm still either way. I'm picking the Eagles just because I think they have the better team. So I just don't think it's going to be like a 40-point performance like they did the first time they played them. Give me the Giants, or give me the Eagles 27-17.
All right. Mo, Giants versus Eagles. Who you got?
Giants versus Eagles. I got Eagles across the board.
All right, man.
I think it's gonna be a close game. You know your opponent. But I think Eagles are on the mission. So I'm gonna go Eagles. In a tough one, but I think talent overtakes it. I'm gonna go Eagles 34-24.
Woo. All right, Coach, I gotta go. I like Nick Sirianni. He's the second year he's got a team in the playoffs with Jalen Hurts. I think you just continue that couple together, not a couple, but coach quarterback. Oh man, this is a tough one. I gotta go Brian Daboll just as because what he's done with Daniel Jones. I had Daniel Jones. I think everybody had Daniel Jones written off. Giants drafting a quarterback. Daboll gets his guy. Wrong. They're about to re-sign him. Re-sign Saquon. I agree with Saquon, but Saquon balled out this year. But, I mean, dang, man, he's just a good coach. He's just one of those coaches that are going to be good, but he's going to need a quarterback to take him to that next level. So, but what he's done this year, I mean, he's definitely running a coach of the year. He's probably going to win it, but he's my choice, man. I got to go with him. Offense, I got to go Eagles. The thing with the Giants is they don't have any weapons. And I think that the Vikings were so bad on defense. And that's why I picked the Giants, because the Vikings sucked. And I think the Giants game plan for them well. Their offense is not good. The Giants offense is not good. And we might see why. and what they need to get to the next level this weekend when they face this Philly defense. The Philly offense, on the other hand, we don't know how healthy Jalen Hurts is. He says he's healthy. He says he's good to go. We'll see. He last game, fortunately, looked good, was against this Giants team. AJ Brown's explosive, Miles Sanders, my man, Devontae Smith. I mean, I just think Eagles offensive line is phenomenal. Shout out to my man Jason Kelsey, man. I listened to their podcast. The Heights is cool with him and his brother Travis. But their offensive line is better. So the defense, Eagles. Big play Slay, Bradbury. And looking at the injury report, Robert Quinn could play. I think a lot of the Eagles got healthy. And they had one of the best defenses in the NFL. So defense, I'm picking Eagles. So, all right, here's the thing. This is a divisional game, and I think it's going to be close. I think it's going to be good, but I think the Eagles eventually pull away in the fourth quarter, and because the Giants are so limited on offense, and the Eagles' defense is good. And I know they scored 31 against the Vikings, but the Vikings' defense is terrible, man. And I don't think they get away with that with this Eagles team. I think it's the Eagles actually win 28-20. All right, Corey. Giants versus Eagles. Who you got?
Coaching. After last week, I am going to go Brian Daboll. I know I've been giving him crap for a month now because of his coaching scared against the Commanders. He did coach scared against the Vikings, and he won the playoff game.
Yeah.
I will say, Sirianni deserves a lot of credit. I know the expectations for these two teams were vastly different. People did expect Philly to compete to win this division still going into the season, but nobody thought that this Philadelphia team would look like this.
No.
But as I said, and everyone had written off Daniel Jones, wrote off the Giants. Everyone thought they were going to pick him at the top of the draft. I know I did.
I did.
Yeah. And so
quickness.
Getting this team not just into the playoffs, but winning a playoff game is crazy impressive. The Giants are arguably multiple years ahead of schedule right now. Offensively, you have to go Philadelphia. Yes, there's question marks at quarterback because of Jalen Hurts' health. But the skill position talent is just vastly superior in Philadelphia. I think the Giants' offensive line has been playing pretty well this year. Daniel Jones has been a surprise, but yeah, I think that Philly may have one of the best wide receiver duos in the NFL right now. Defensively, I'm going to lean Philadelphia, but I think it's actually pretty close. Both teams have pretty good defensive fronts. I think Philly's is a little deeper, but Williams, Lawrence, and Thibodeau in New York, a very good trio there. I think both teams have kind of linebacking cores. I think the Giants have a better safety pairing, but the Eagles have better corners. So yeah. And I think the gap between I think Philly's corners are so much more better than the Giants' corners that's where the separation comes for me. Overall, I know Vegas expects this to not be a very good game. Vegas doesn't think either of the Saturday games are going to be particularly good ones. I don't know. Jalen Hurts has played one game in a month. December 18th was the Bears game. So it'll be just over a month. He'll have played one game. As a Colts fan, I can say that offenses need rhythm. Look at San Francisco. they're in a rhythm. They're playing really well right now. And I can tell you, as a fan of the Manning era, watching those teams go 10, 12, 14-0 one year, and then just turn off the car for 3 weeks. It doesn't work. Every single time they did that, the offense came out slow in the playoffs. So was that 1 week in week 18 enough to shake off the rust for Jalen Hurts and get him back in the flow in that offense? I don't know. You're getting a division rival that knows you, that has a pretty solid defense. My only concern there would be that I think Philly's defense can keep them in any game against any opponent.
Mm-hmm.
I want to pick the Giants in this game. It's not a knock to Sirianni. It's not a knock on Hurts. It's just a starting quarterback playing once in a month span is really rough to shake off going into a big playoff game.
What? All right.
Much like last week, I am not brave enough to make that call, though.
Do it, man. Do it. It wouldn't. Here's the thing. It's a divisional game. It's hard to beat a team 3 times. I don't think anybody here would be like, oh, the Giants beat the Eagles. They'd be like, well.
I think that the timing of the injury for Jalen Hurts is rough for the Eagles. They were able to hang on to the 1 seed to get the bye, get him a little extra rest, but it's just, how healthy is he and how much is he going to be able to shake off the rust? It was a rough outing against backups against the Giants week 18. You know what? Screw it. I mean, I think the Giants cover the spread anyways because it was like 7.5 points last I saw. I think Daniel Jones and that offense could make enough plays, and the defenses keep it close. For the Giants to win, this has to be a low scoring game, though.
Yeah.
They are not winning a shootout against the Eagles.
No, that's a low score.
So screw it. I'll take the Giants 20-17.
They did it.
Hey, it might be. A lot of people have been saying it, man. So I'm not.
If Jalen Hurts had stayed healthy, played out the rest of the year, I'd be taking the Eagles, no question. It's just, I have firsthand witnessed way too many seasons end prematurely because the offense wasn't in rhythm.
It happened to Lamar and them. What happened to the Ravens? They got the number 1 seed. They got bounced. You know, that's the thing about the number 1 seed. If your offense isn't in a rhythm, like that's not what the Chiefs was, because the Chiefs were in a rhythm. They played all their games. They were in a rhythm. And Hurts being hurt, I get it. Hey, I get it. I agree. So, I'm going to do Bengals versus the Bills. Very interesting. This is going to be a good game. Dang it. All right. Head coach, I'm going to go with, Zach Taylor's a good coach, but some say he has Burrow, right? So, well, here's the thing. Some people kind of like Matt LaFleur with Aaron Rodgers. Like it's almost like you don't have to coach enough because you have a great quarterback. If that makes sense. If that makes sense. Like
it's essentially Joe Burrow covers a lot of flaws of Zach Taylor.
Yeah, we don't know if he's a good coach yet.
Okay, well, what does Josh Allen do?
A good quarterback, but I believe I'm gonna pick Sean McDermott over Zach Taylor.
I mean,
I think Sean McDermott actually had the Buffalo Bills in the playoffs with Tyrod Taylor.
He just had him in a bowl. He had a team that won 3 or 4 games last year in a bowl that they could have won if.
I think that's Burrow, not Taylor. I think Sean McDermott had Tyrod Taylor in the playoffs. I think that's coaching.
Yes, man, coach.
At the end of the day, I'm going to go with Sean McDermott. I think Sean McDermott's a better coach, especially what happened with DeMar Hamlin. I'm going to go with Sean McDermott over Zach Taylor. That's just, we'll see, Offense, man, this is, I don't know, because both quarterbacks are really good, right? So the Buffalo Bills, they got Josh Allen. Cincinnati Bengals got Joe Burrow. Both quarterbacks are great. They're both elite quarterbacks. They're good. Right now, they both didn't play stellar in their last playoff games. I would probably playmaking, you go Josh Allen. Clutchness, you go Burrow. Running backs, I gotta go Mixon. Receivers, you got Jamar Chase, Stephon Diggs. But I would pick T. Higgins over. I would go. Oh man, I would go Cincinnati Bengals offense only because they spread the ball around more and they don't rely on Josh Allen. I think the Bills rely too much on Josh Allen, thus leading to the turnovers that I'm worried about. Defense, this is another close one. I think I'm gonna go with the Bills on the defensive side of the ball. I think the Bills. I think they have a better defense than Cincinnati. I think Cincinnati defense is like middle of the pack, which is not bad, but I think the Bills. Not only they got more playmakers, but I think their defense is just a little bit better. The overall game, this game is going to be very interesting because the Bengals were beating the Bills. They were, and they had them up 7-3 and were driving before DeMar Hamlin. So. And then if DeMar Hamlin's at the game, this is gonna be maybe the game of the week. I'm not gonna lie, I've been going back and forth all week. This is a tough game because of the Bengals' offensive line issues. I think Buffalo brings enough pass rush, and I think that hurts. But then the Bengals overcame that last year. And I think that Joe Mixon saying they're the big dogs of the AFC is going to bite them in the butt. So, and I think that Josh Allen, be wary of the turnovers. I think he's going to clean that up. And the only thing about Josh Allen, if he throws a pick, he's liable to go a 70-yard bomb to Stephon Diggs and come right back. The Bengals can't afford to play like they played against the Ravens. They can't. And this is a different atmosphere. It's in Buffalo. Josh Allen has not lost a game of Buffalo in the playoffs. I'm picking the Bills. I'm not gonna lie. This game could go either way, but I'm going Buffalo Bills. And I think it's going to be decided by 4 points or less. And I got 28-24 Buffalo. All right, Corey. Bengals versus Bills, what you got?
Yeah, this one, coaching. Yeah, I got to go Sean McDermott. Going into last season, I picked Zach Taylor to be on the hot seat. There was rumors coming out of Cincinnati that he may have been losing the locker room, and then they went on a Super Bowl run. And I will give Taylor all the credit in the world for his part in handling the whole crisis of DeMar Hamlin in that game. He also helped get the season turned around after the Super Bowl hangover. He's done a lot better job than I thought he would, and is looking to be a better coach than I thought he was. But what McDermott has done, navigating that whole situation, and having this Bills team where it's at is you can't pick against them right now. Offensively, I've been on the fence on this one. I gotta lean Buffalo. I think Burrow may be a better quarterback right now than Josh Allen. I think he's a more consistent quarterback right now than Josh Allen is still, just because Allen still has those turnover issues that creep up every so often.
Definitely.
The Bengals have a much better receiving core, and it's just the offensive line issues. I don't know. I haven't seen that Jonah Williams is out, but after a dislocated kneecap, I would be hard pressed to believe he plays this weekend. And last year, Cincinnati overcame offensive line troubles, but the troubles they were overcoming were just not very good starters. This year, the issues are injuries. You're having backups getting thrown in late, so that's tough to overcome. And I think that offensive line can hold back their offense a little bit, and that's why I give Buffalo the edge there. Defensively, I gotta lean Cincinnati. I think Hubbard and Hendrickson are a little bit better edge combo, and I like Cincinnati's overall secondary a bit better than I do Buffalo's. But both have good defenses. This is one of those where it's picking one isn't a knock against the other. They're both really good. So I'm leaning the Bengals there. Overall, I was a little surprised to see Buffalo as a 5.5 point favorite. I thought that spread would end up being 1 or 2 points. I think it's a sign of what Vegas thinks about Cincinnati's offensive line, honestly. I'm with you, James. I think that the Buffalo pass rush is going to be able to get to Burrow. I know they overcame that last year, but it's a little bit different circumstances in Buffalo.
2 years in a row coming over that.
Yeah, I think it could be too much to overcome.
And last year, who did they play? Tennessee. Chiefs, legit win. And the Raiders. Yeah, they beat the Raiders. Remember the Raiders made the playoffs? I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, the Raiders made the playoffs, yeah.
Yeah, surprisingly, yes. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Buffalo's a really good team.
Yeah. And if that revamped offensive line was healthy at this point in the year, I think I would be taking Cincinnati in this game. But it's too much for me. I think Buffalo's a team that's able to overcome some turnovers, able to bounce back. I think they bounce back after that game against Miami. And I think Cincinnati can cover, but I think the Bills defense is able to help carry them, even without Von Miller being able to apply that pass rush. So I'm gonna lean Buffalo in this one, 24-20.
That's gonna be a good one. Craig, Bengals versus Bills. Who you got?
For the coach, I'm going Zach Taylor. I like the job that he's done this season. The team is just winning games. They haven't lost since, I think, the Cleveland Browns game way back when, seems like. And that game,
I believe so, yeah. I think you're right.
Scored in that game, but they fought it off, they bounced back, and then they just pretty much won. They won every game since. And I think they were going to win that Bills game. I don't know if I picked them or not, but I'm just looking at how they were just going down the field and going down the field the first drive, and then they scored, and then they were going to do it again. It just looked like, I mean, who knows what would have happened or what could have happened, but that offense looked really good. I like Sean McDermott. I think he's a great coach. The job that he did with Carolina before as the DC there, and then the job that he's done so far in Buffalo, has been phenomenal. But I just based off of this season, and how things started for Cincinnati. I think they started out 0-2, and now they finished with 12 wins. Possibly could have got 13.
Yeah.
I'm going to lean with the Bengals coach, Zach Taylor. Offense is close. I like both offenses. They're both really good. Quarterbacks, you could probably cancel those guys out. Wide receivers, you could probably cancel them out if you wanted to. Offensive line, I would lean Bills. The running back is Mixon over anybody, Singletary or Cooks. So it's tough, man. I think I'm going to lean slightly towards the Bengals for the offense. I like it. It's probably just because of, I mean, their offensive line has issues and all that. The thing that's put me over the top about it is the overall skill positions. I like Davis and I obviously like Diggs, but then you have Chase, you have Boyd, who can actually he could be a number 2 if he wanted to, and you have Higgins. Both teams have fairly decent tight ends. Although Knox is at times he's disappeared. I mean, he's rightfully so. That offense is crazy. So I kind of agree with you, James. I think that the offense for Buffalo just relies a lot on
crazy
everything from Josh Allen, for him running the ball, for him trying to make passes fit in tight windows or whatever you want to try to do, whatever he's trying to do out there. Burrow just seems to be more, I guess, cool would be the operative term. Like he just seems more relaxed and everything, even though his line is just crumbling around him. But I'm slightly leaning towards the Bengals there. Defense, I'm leaning. I think I'm gonna have to go Bengals again, just because I think their defense is playing a little bit better than the Bills' defense lately. Obviously, competition is everything. Teams that they've played over the last 7-8 weeks. But I mean, their defense looks a lot better than, like, I know that they just played a division rival for the 3rd time, but giving up 31 points to Skylar Thompson and that Dolphins offense, I don't know about that one. And then a few weeks before that, they actually played Tua, but I thought Tua is terrible in games below 50 degrees when the kickoff starts, and they came out and they almost won that game.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I just like the way the Bengals defense is playing lately. They're just pretty much taking teams that they should beat, and they're beating them. They have a couple games in there where the defense didn't play too well, but I got to slightly lean Bengals there. So basically, I took the Bengals across the board. But for this game, I don't understand why the Bills are favored by 5.5. It just threw me off. Excuse me, when I looked at it, and I just thought that seems to be a little too much.
That's a lot
for this game, and how things were progressing in that previous game. Even though it's a different site, they were in Cincinnati, then now they're in Buffalo. I mean, Cincinnati's used to the cold weather. Obviously, the crowd and the environment is going to be a lot more. It's going to be a lot different. It's not going to be that home cooking that they had in that little bit of time they played each other before. I would not be surprised if either one of these teams win, obviously, because both of these teams are that good.
It'll be a good game, man.
I would like to have seen this in the AFC Championship game, but
yeah,
this here. So either one works for me, I guess. At least we get to see them again, and it's good that we get to see this matchup because we didn't get a chance to see it the first time around. But
yeah,
man, I think
close.
It is close, and I just thinking that offensive line for Cincinnati is just going to be something that they might not be able to overcome. I think if Von Miller was in this game, I think it would be, to me, easy for me to pick the Bills.
He was feast.
Yeah, I think I'm still going to slightly pick the Bills, even though they're run. I think Baltimore showed that running the ball is something that the Bills can't do outside of Josh Allen. So maybe Josh Allen has to take more of a running the ball type approach from a quarterback position, because I don't think Singletary or Cooks is going to be able to run the ball, or Cook is going to be able to run the ball. So, but I just think that Buffalo's going to be able to make a few more plays. It's going to be a really good game. Let me go 33-30 Buffalo.
It's going to be like you could go either or way.
I could. Yeah.
And nobody's going to be like, oh, that's crazy. I think it's going to be the game of the week. All right, Corey, we're about to wrap up with you. Jaguars versus the Chiefs.
Look, kudos
I don't know,
to
Craig.
Jacksonville for being in this position.
Yeah.
Going into the season, I thought the Jaguars would win 4 or 5 games, but the big thing was just developing Trevor Lawrence, because you wasted his rookie year under Urban Meyer.
Crazy.
I didn't expect the AFC South to be the dumpster fire it was between the Colts and the Titans and the Texans. The Jaguars took full advantage, snuck into the playoffs, and then they got lucky and faced the Chargers team that just imploded. But in no category am I taking the Jaguars over the Chiefs. I don't think it's particularly close in any category. And I think a 8.5 point spread is something that honestly the Chiefs should cover. Mahomes has overcome losing his best wide receiver and not having a true number 1 receiver by going 14-3, having over 4,000 yards. And
one of the best seasons.
Yeah, just having an insane season. So there's nothing to talk about here. Give me the Chiefs 38-20.
Craig, Jaguars versus Chiefs, who you got?
Now, I'm not saying Doug Peterson is a better coach than Andy Reid, but I think the job that he's done this year, because I just didn't have him winning 9 games and winning the division. I also didn't have the Chiefs winning the division, but I just didn't have Jacksonville nowhere near the playoffs. And the job that he's done with Trevor Lawrence. So, but once again, I'm not saying he's a better coach, but I'm going Peterson for the coach. He's going to get out coached in this game, but I just think the job he's done for this team, and then to have him being able to stay poised. And I don't know what he said in the locker room, if he said anything, but to get the team to come back in the first playoff game of the wild card weekend, or their first playoff game, like it speaks a lot to how good he is as a head coach. Offense, I'm taking the Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes, that's enough said for that. Defense, Jacksonville's defense has played well at times.
Yeah.
But so is Kansas City's defense. Like it looks on paper like they're just horrible sometimes, or you see a box score or something like that. But their defense is decent. It's kind of even. I just think Kansas City obviously has better playmakers on defense. So I would probably lean slightly towards Kansas City, even though I think Jacksonville's defense is probably playing a little bit better. Is this game first? This game is first on.
I believe it is on a Saturday.
Yeah, let's get this game out of the way, I guess. I don't even know.
Get it out the way.
Yeah, might as well. It's kind of. I think it's going to kind of be like that San Francisco game,
Seattle,
game, where it might be close early, might be like 10-10 or something like that, and then just Kansas City just blows the doors off of them. Yeah. So give me Kansas City 37 to. Let's go 37-19.
Yes. Jaguars and Chiefs. Okay, Chiefs are, in the words of Joe Mixon, the Chiefs are the top dogs in the AFC. They just been to a lot of AFC championships games, and they're going to go this way. There's no disrespect to Jacksonville. Shout out to the Duval County, Lil Duval, killing with the shoulders, Jacksonville Jaguars, man. You don't know Lil Duval killing with the shoulders. Anyway, all right. Living my best life. Hey, listen. If the Jacksonville Jaguars hired Doug Peterson last year. This might be a better game. I just think that I don't know what they were doing with Urban Meyer. But Trevor Lawrence is going to – Corey, I just don't like to say that, but I don't think they're going away anytime soon.
No, probably not.
But that'll be good competition. If y'all get a young quarterback that's phenomenal, which I think y'all have a really good history of getting quarterbacks. Not drafting, yes. Not free agents, if that makes sense. Good at drafting. Yep. Not free agents. Yeah. They are. That's why Corey's happy they got the 4th pick, because they're going to get a good quarterback. That's what they're good at. Trust Ballard. So, Doug Peterson's phenomenal job, but I got to go Andy Reid. He has his team in a position to go with the AFC Championship again and to host it for the 5th. Well, not host it. It depends who makes it. But to go to because it could be a neutral site if the Bills win. But they're going to be in the AFC Championship game for 5 straight years. That's just phenomenal, man. Shout out to Andy Reid. Offense, I'm going the Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes this year, he's thrown 67% of his passes. He's thrown 5,250 yards. His average is 8.1. That's second. He's thrown 41 touchdowns. The next closest is 35. His QBR is a 77.7. That's second. His passer rating is second, 105. That's why he's on my wall. I just think he's just going to be, when it's all said and done, he's going to be considered one of the greatest quarterbacks. And the Chiefs are going to be in it every year. And they're going to, it doesn't matter who it is, they're going to always choose Patrick Mahomes. Doesn't matter if you're a number one, he's just that guy. Defense, I gotta go Chiefs. I agree with Corey. The Chiefs defense always plays good in the playoffs for some reason. And they're going against Lawrence, who's not a rookie, but he is. His first year almost doesn't count, but it does, but it doesn't, because of all this dysfunction. So I think that I think Kansas City defense is going to be prepared. They're well rested. Unlike the Eagles, where Corey says he has an issue with, which is a very valid point, and a lot of people are making it, the Chiefs were rolling on. They were on a winning streak. They were on a winning streak going into the playoffs. And I'm gonna be honest, it doesn't. Listen, if that didn't happen with DeMar Hamlin, I still think they get number 1 seed. I think they do. They ended the season with a 6-game winning streak. I'm sorry, 5-game. They lost to the Bengals, and then they had another 5-game winning streak. Like they just didn't lose that much. I think they're one of the best teams with one of the best coaches. This is on Saturday game. It's a good tune-up. It's a good tune-up game, Craig. It's a good game to warm you up and get you ready for the other game on Saturday night, which is the Giants and Eagles. I think it's going to be a lot better. But I think this is going to be a blowout. I think it's going to be, I'm going to say 38-28. 38-28 Chiefs. All right, guys. Well, we're about to end this live. We're going to start going live every Wednesday. We will definitely catch up with y'all.